Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Mr. Zach Solomon, my good friend. I'm trying to get this live going on Instagram too, but it's not happening. Well, there it goes. All right. Well, I got my friend Zach Solomon here. We are both in chiropractic school at Life University. And we got 0 people watching after 25 seconds, but that's okay because we're gonna get
It's
gonna keep going up. Yeah, we're gonna have it's gonna crash the Instagram feed. Yeah. People are gonna be signing up for Instagram in places that they didn't even know they had Instagram.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of followers.
What's going on? It's true. So Zach is one of, in my opinion, the top students in the chiropractic program for sure, and he has an incredible story. Came from grassroots Florida, had a film career, has dedicated his life to health and serving the public. You are a leader in our classroom. You are a new leader of a household, husband, spiritual leader. Yeah, give it up. Yeah, exactly. If you're watching, this is your husband. Yeah, exactly. Don't forget it either. Yeah. So, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on. It's cool to be part of that conception of what you're building here. So
yeah, that's what we're gonna do. See, Zach's got incredible ideas. He's a thinker, philosopher at heart, and you've got fire in there, man.
Thank you.
So
I'm learning to tune into it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. Like, once you're tuned into the fire, like, what are the actions that you see yourself taking?
That's a good question, because I've recently been coming on things to figure out like what's the highest potential of myself, which I have a vision of, and then each day I ask myself, what do I need to do every day in order to slowly step into the person that I see in the vision. And I think at the end of the day, it's just continuing to show up and practice certain skills and repeat that over and over until it becomes like an unconscious software that I'm running and I don't need to think about these things. Practicing speaking, getting different insights down, my philosophies, the way I see life, my education, and having all these things fire so I can come on something like this and I just hit default mode, and these things are just who I am at that point. I'm building who I am in the process, which could take a decade, since this is a newer journey for me. So right now I'm just in the process of trying to figure out what habits work for me and just hit repeat every day and just continue to stay disciplined and show up for that.
Right. So. Well, you must have your eyes set on some people. We were having a conversation earlier and you're like, hey, you know what? He points out the person he loves the most at whatever skill he's looking for. And then he's like, I'm just going to copy everything that person's doing. So who are the people that you are looking up to right now?
Dead, alive, or both?
Well, I don't know. Who are you looking up to, bro?
Yesterday,
you can study the dead, right?
You can. Yeah. And we could go into this, but I believe you can connect with that essence and that spirit, and through all the stories we have, really tune into what they were doing. For example, yesterday I actually got insight to really start studying Da Vinci. Crazy things that he was doing was he would take a nap every 4 hours for 20 minutes. He was only sleeping, again, if this is factual, but these guys that I'd say like built society or revered 500 years later, they were considered madmen in their time.
Right.
Until we realize and we start having the science to prove like, oh, this guy was just in a hypnagogic state, right?
All the time.
And just having these insights and
hypnagogic, that's a good word, dude.
Yeah.
And just having every day. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, yeah. But he was having these insights and downloads that people today were like, how did he know this stuff 500 years ago?
Yeah.
And I think when you're in that altered state of consciousness without going off the end of psychosis, it's a state that the magical and the mystical are tuned into, and they're just receiving things, I don't believe, you can study IQ and say, this guy's a genius, you'll never replicate that. I like to believe anything's possible. And so you just have to study the lifestyle and these different actions and these different ways of life that they were living, because they're so taboo they didn't speak about them. But at the end of the day, they were doing things that the rest of society wasn't. Right? The quote of, if you want to have what others don't, do what others aren't doing.
Right.
And I think that's important, you know. And so that's what I try to emulate, is just seeing what a lot of others are doing and being like, okay, what did the greats do? Okay, Da Vinci was, I got some God's like, keep preaching.
Preach.
Yeah.
Here's your hypnagogic
yeah,
steak.
Zeus is like, yeah, just how Da Vinci, for example, was doing these unique sleep patterns, right? Like coming upon these grand ideas that seem crazy, that now with science are proving that he was 100% correct. But MLK, in terms of speaking and the way he delivered messages, for the holidays, I asked my wife, like, hey, I really want this book, you know, like, weird present to ask, but it was all of MLK's speeches laid out in a way that I can just write in the book and dissect how he used different parts of speech and when he threw stories and when the tones that he used, right? And just seeing this symphony of music in a way that he constructed things, and we consider him a great lecturer and speaker.
Yeah.
And so MLK for speaking is huge. I'm trying to think, right? Da Vinci, and just the way that he did things different, was such a creative mind. Like creativity, I was in film, which we could get into if you want, but having that unlock a lot of my creative side of things. I follow a lot of filmmakers and photographers still, and having that creative side of the brain just allows things to open up and allow you to see things from another perspective is a huge proponent of making something unique in the world. So I follow a ton of photographers and see the way they see a setting, or the way that they wait for certain lighting that I would have never thought of, you know? And then I'm like, how do I tie that into health? How do I tie that into chiropractic? A big proponent in terms of like a lot of different monks, gurus, you know, people in the spiritual meditative space, different breath workers, you know, just ways in which they're getting the body ready to tune in for these more like these hypnagogic states, to like allow certain downloads and things that when we're fully connected, I think we can have like miracles come through us that we can then gift to the world. I'm trying to think of specific people. MLK for speaking, because I've been wanting to advance that skill. Yeah. And I don't know. For me, I listen to him and I get goosebumps, you know. So I'm like, I got to study that master.
What would you want to speak about, man? Like,
what I want to speak about?
Yeah. So let's just give you the gifts that you're looking for. Now you have it.
Yeah.
All right. So now what are you going to do with them?
That's a great question, because I think part of the journey is figuring out that final message. I think if I could put it in a sentence, would be something between bridging Eastern and Western philosophies when it comes to healing and lifestyle, and just ways of thinking. I think figuring out, I'm the type of person where if something's not foolproof, I don't love the concept of it. If it's a technique, for example, in healing, I'll be like, all right, I'll use that and take the few things that I really like from it that I'll mold into my future foolproof, hopefully, system. Yeah. But I'd say that the final message is really figuring out in the realm of health how we can reach a foolproof way of healing between the mind, body, and spirit. Right. Because you see a lot of fractionalization of these different aspects, and it all comes together. And I think that's why someone could be like, oh, this chiropractor didn't help me. And this other person's like, oh, he healed something that no other, or she healed something that no other doctor, right? And it's because I just don't think we study enough and have big enough scopes in terms of cross-disciplining different aspects that make us whole and healthy.
Right. Well, I had this conversation yesterday with a buddy of mine, and he's in medical school, and we were just talking about how I feel like the medical system has done an incredible job of delegating specialties to doctors. Like, you go to the podiatrist, you go to a gastroenterologist, you go to the urologist, you got somebody for your nose and throat, and there's somebody specific for an ailment,
Mm-hmm.
and they dedicate their whole life to your ear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so in chiropractic, there are similar delineations, which is what you're saying. Well, how can somebody go to a chiropractor and be like, this didn't work, and then they go to another person goes to the same chiropractor and their whole life is different, right? Where I think chiropractic would benefit from adopting, like, teaching the public the different types of chiropractic, like the different ways that we can be doctors. And also, as you're saying, to be able to cross-train and understand, well, is there a system that we can create to assess a patient and then go, well, based off of this assessment, these are like the top 3 systems of healing that would benefit this patient. I mean, ultimately, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because in order to do that, you'd have to standardize assessing a human being.
Mm-hmm.
That's individual, that's not just like, well, everybody should have this, because it's not, you can't treat health really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like another thing that keeps me up at night is there's so much information and knowledge to learn. I get why specialties exist, and I'm the type of person where I try to see all sides of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a debate with myself probably every day of like, okay, is it that we need to know everything, or like we specialize in one thing and try to hone in on that thing and refer, when it's like, oh, it's out of my specialty. It's like, I see both sides so clearly, I can't come to a decision. And then I get frustrated when I'm trying to learn everything, or I'm trying to specialize, because I'm like, oh, but what if someone presents with this? But then I'm trying to learn everything, and I'm like, I can't go deep enough into everything, so then I need to specialize,
Yeah, you gotta
and
pick
it's
a few
such
things.
this dichotomy of seeing things from so many angles. It gets a little frustrating, when the goal is to just, how can I bring healing to everyone? I know that's a lofty goal, which might not be my job, but I strive to be as perfect and as helpful to society as I can in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Bella and I were on a hike today, and we were talking about just like, she has a paper that is talking about roles in society and social equality. And one aspect is the idea that essentially, like, whatever happens is happening, and there are people who, in this case of health, like, who may want health and that are contributing to health, and then there are other people who don't contribute to health, and they fall by the wayside because they're not contributing, right? Let's just say that. I mean, they're talking about social inequality and trying to bring it into healthcare.
Yeah.
And the other aspect is, like, it's our responsibility to recognize the people who are not contributing and value all life. And then, like, it's our responsibility to create a social construct that benefits everyone equally. And so these are the two things. Like, one is like, hey, I'm going to do nothing about it because, like, it sorts itself out. The other one is it's our responsibility because we control everything, basically. So I'd be curious to understand, like, you made a statement, well, I don't know if it's my responsibility to heal everybody or not. What do you think, what is your opinion on healthcare regarding let's just start with our country. Like, healthcare in our country related to chiropractic. Do you think that it should be for everybody and there should be a social program for it? Do you think that there should be like a fee for service, or like, what would be your opinion on something like that?
again, probably another dichotomy.
Yeah.
And I see so many sides. So, like each side.
We don't have to pick one.
Yeah.
We can just talk about what would be beneficial in things that you find important.
Yeah. I mean, I've been through so much struggle, and I've seen so many people not get the care that they need.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm getting emotional with that, but like the servant in me
Mm-hmm.
just wants to, like, if I throw all aspects of making money and paying bills and right, like just any of that side of survival out, and I just think of like myself as a servant, that part of me is just wanting to make as many people be able to get the top care that they can as possible, right? And then you have like the Zach who's in society and human and is like, okay, but like the whole aspect of, okay, well, you need to pay bills, and like, okay, if someone's working so hard, do they deserve to make more, right? It's just like, or if someone is more valuable or offers more, so there's so many different sides to it.
Mm-hmm.
That this is my biggest struggle is finding like the clearest side and just attacking that, because I think so much.
Yeah.
And I know so many
Do you need
people
a hug?
that live in different, what?
So you need a hug?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's okay. It's okay, buddy.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see too many sides for me.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's hard, like when you hear of someone that's like super like low income, can't afford anything, and is like about to die, and you're like, oh, I wish they could just get like the top care possible and save that life,
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like the other side of that, So it's a hard concept, but I'd say like at my core, I'm a servant, and I just want to help as many people as possible.
Totally.
So like when I throw all logic or any part of this reality out, I'm just like, how do we get as many people like to the best practitioners and get the best care out to society?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's led me to the concept of maybe I have a business, and then I have another
Like a
just
nonprofit thing.
that just literally gives out, how do I
That's
just
been my
pay my
idea.
bills and then
Yeah,
just
yeah.
get free care out to stuff,
Yeah.
and trying to come up with something that
Like a
makes me
program.
feel
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and like,
Charging the most.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll say it for you. I'll
Thank
say
you.
it for you. Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, something that fulfills me being able to keep my survivals and needs met,
Yeah.
and take care of my wife and future family, and then also just like, how do I just get society healthy,
Yeah.
And again, there's only so much time that you need other people on the same page, and sacrificing their time and them making more money to get on that same servant page of like, how do I spend that extra time in my day also being
Right.
part of that, just giving and giving and giving.
It's funny because we were talking for like 4 hours on our walk, and it's all just like it's like being in Dr. Thornhill's philosophy class, where he'll get, we have a subject, and then you get these couple of sides, and there's no clear answer, and that's how class ends, and you just go to the next subject for the next thing that's like that, We're trying to figure out, well, is it we're talking about like advocacy essentially, where are people who don't have access to healthcare, right? They may or may not understand their problem, right? I think that it's what we talked about today was communication would be one of the single greatest contributing factors to a social equality situation. So if we had healthcare equality, that concept would be, well, if we were able to help an individual communicate with themselves about their shortcomings, then that would lead to the greatest advancement in social equality. Meaning, like, instead of teaching people how to communicate with one another, it would be a greater impact to teach somebody how to just admit, hey, I'm not doing this well, or this is where I'm falling short, and just be honest about it, and then take action from that new perspective. There'd be a 2-step process. Like 1, take responsibility for what you're not doing, and 2, just taking action to try to change it.
And teach a man to fish with their own.
Yeah, and like if we just helped people if we just mind controlled them to do that.
If we just, a better place.
Yeah, we'd be in a way better place. If we just condition people to take responsibility in that way, then they inherently, it's my opinion that they would start to make better choices. If I can communicate with myself, then the probability that I can communicate well with you is higher. And if we're both being honest with ourselves, then the conversation really can be easier, you know?
Yeah.
So, if we go low income, the problem is not all low income people would have access to a high level of chiropractic. Now, this can be true. You could say this for a lot of things. A low income person may not have access to healthcare out of chiropractic. I don't know, like the same opportunities that work around jobs or income or schooling and education, whatever. My perspective on this is like, if somebody wants something bad enough, they typically figure out a way to make it work, in my experience. Not everybody is willing to take the steps to strive for all the things they want. So then the question becomes, well, the people who are striving in these terrible conditions and they make it out are the outlier. They're not the majority. So then the question just becomes, okay, well, how do you help the majority of people who say they want to help themselves? Maybe how do you help a person who feels like they have no hope? They are in a culture of people who also feel the same way. They are also in a mindset that they have no power to really change their circumstances, so they accept that as the truth. And one of the aspects of this view that Bella brings up with me is that there could be my brain tends to go towards seeing a victim. Like, well, if you want to be out of your situation, then get out of the situation. And maybe there's an aspect of myself that I just have always felt capable of doing that, and I've been in pretty terrible situations. And I feel almost like certain that this is just true for everybody. Hey, if you decide that you don't want to live that life, then you won't.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw a video of some guy in North Korea today, stole a fucking military car and drove as fast as he could to the DMZ, got shot like 1 billion times, and crawled to South Korea, and they pulled him away.
That's insane.
Yeah, and so this is the thing. Like, you're in a communist country, motherfucker doesn't want to be there anymore, so he fucking leaves. He's willing to die for that.
Yeah.
So maybe
That's
it's
crazy.
just because of the military, and I'm all wired that way, and maybe there's like something in me that won't let it go, because that's my survival mechanism, and maybe that's what's happening. Because Bella brings up the point of like, there can be somebody who's not a victim and just in a shitty place, and you know, I don't have to be so harsh about it or whatever it is. You know?
Yeah.
So then how do you help the majority of those people is really the question. Aside from my own belief, aside from the outliers, there are people who feel they don't know what to do. Let's just say that. They have no idea what to do, and so they do nothing relative to moving forward towards healthcare in chiropractic. Like, what do you think we could do to like get something to those people.
Yeah, 100%. Not to beat a dead horse, but dichotomy again with this in my thought process. So speaking stuff out loud might make us come to a clear answer on that. But I relate to you a lot in the same way, because going through stuff in life, I was headed on journey A, and until it was like a traumatic effect or traumatic event that woke me up and made me question my whole world and put me on path B.
Yeah.
You know, which people might be like, wow, you're X, Y, and Z. If they didn't know me before, you know, they wouldn't have seen such a drastic change.
Mm-hmm.
And so partially I see it as like, right, like cliche, but like God's plan, like everything is always working out exactly as it should. But then another fact or another sense of that is we also have to meet God halfway and do our part, right? So it's like a two sides to it. So it's like it's always working out exactly as it should, but then we also have to do our part and show up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's pre-written or just like actually our free will, you know? No one has the answer to that.
Take a 20-minute nap, bro.
Yeah.
Wake up and then tell me.
Yeah. Maybe I don't have those answers.
Yeah. Just give me 20 minutes. I'll be right back. Dalton, take it away.
Yeah, I need that altered state.
Yeah.
But I think, so interesting enough, the word doctor comes from the Latin word that means teacher.
Right.
And so I think I think where the world's headed is awakening to us just being a society of victims and starting to take accountability for where we're at and starting to change things, right? And I think part of that is having people safe enough, or creating safe enough environments to, like, if we have a connection, and being vulnerable enough to just be like, hey, Dalton, like, you know how much I love you, but like I've been noticing X, Y, and Z. I want you to have a better life.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to awaken to these unconscious aspects of yourself.
Yeah.
But going back to your original point, like, people don't know how to communicate with themselves, so they don't know how to communicate with someone else. So they try to come across and say and do something nice for someone, but they're like, buddy, wake up, you know? They didn't say it in a way where they like lower themselves to the pain that person's going through or how they see things, and like slowly bridge them to a higher perspective. And so going back to speech, I think it's important for people to learn how to communicate with themselves and others. That's the true way of the servant, because so many people have good ideas, right? Or so many people can see things, like, and especially you can't see certain aspects of yourself that everyone around you might be thinking. But if you're so in a way of being and a way of thinking, and that you're not willing to take accountability, no one around you will be able to change you, you know? Contradicting like what I just said, but in the sense of it's two-sided. Like, everyone around you has to feel safe enough to come to you. You have to feel safe enough with them. And then to your original point of we need to, it's partially our doing to wake up to that fact, you know? Like when someone, say you're like an alcoholic and your family has an intervention with you, if they're not communicating properly or one side doesn't feel safe with the other, it's never going to lead to a resolution of you healing and becoming good, right? So it's part of, I do think society is becoming more vulnerable. You don't want to become toxically vulnerable, you know, but like becoming vulnerable enough to wake up and change things or be open to change. And then we need people communicating that properly, knowing how to deal with those interpersonal relationships and creating those environments, you know, where I can say I'm just a friend, not your family, but we've created a connection and I see you going down a path and I'm just like, and I think part of it's intuitive to be like, is it my job to help Dalton, or he needs to go through a little bit more suffering to then to have his own resolution, and someone else down the journey is going to help him, you know? And I think the more we are in these altered states and have more intuitive knowledge, we don't have to be like, I'm going to go heal everyone. And Dalton, this is what's wrong with you now. It's like tuning in, like, is he ready for this?
Yeah.
Does he need to go through more?
Right.
And seeing that. But if you feel like someone is ready, knowing and having the skills how to communicate.
Push him over the edge real quick. Like, hey.
Yeah. You're ready.
Yeah. We're going.
Yeah.
Throw the chute.
But then it's hard because other times some people just need that slap. Like I needed that traumatic event to just slap me in the face and be like,
Yeah.
hey, things are different than how you're perceiving them. Like, wake up. So it's hard to pinpoint that. But I think if the thing of like be the change you want to see in the world, if you change yourself and you can be a living example of that, and you start becoming intuitive to see who's ready for that message, and then communicating it in a way that they need, and that's another thing is learning other people. And that's part of the chiropractic essence of like understanding the person you're working on, not just like, oh, everything's an adjustment just like this, it's like each person's a bio-individual. Same thing with change. So the more you can learn about people and what they need, you might need a slap in the face. Say there's a guy named Jake, he needs a more gentle approach, and okay, it's going to take him a year and I'm supposed to hold his hand, So
Right.
the more you learn people is the more you can help them, I feel like.
Right. Well, true. And I agree with what you're saying. I feel like there's people in the world right now that are looking for change, and I think that there's a lack of trust, like everywhere, with medical doctors, with chiropractors. People don't trust health until they find somebody that they do. But I feel like right now people are like floating in this kind of like limbo. They recognize that the medical system has failed them in ways. It's not to say that chiropractic has also been incredible for people, because I think that our profession has a lot of growth, even just within. We were talking about this the other day, on the medical student podcast, because he was talking about a rift between MDs and DOs where virtually they're the same.
Yeah.
There are some like good old boy club MDs where if you're a DO, you're probably not going to be a plastic surgeon. But it seems to be subsiding. And for us, I definitely see rifts. I mean, you see chiropractors just ripping each other apart.
Yeah.
And that's not uncommon. It is common for that to happen. Yeah. And I think it's because what ironically would be beneficial is to label a chiropractor something special, like labeling, categorizing them would be like, well, you can't expect a CBP doctor to understand the same things that an applied kinesiology doctor would understand. It's just you shouldn't.
And it's so much to try to master both,
Oh my God, yeah, both of those two things are like,
yeah.
You could study for 20 years on each of them.
Like, I get why medical schools have residency,
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I want to have a residency for the next 4 or 5 years and a certain interest. So
yeah.
I 100%. It's like the like a fractal aspect of, right? We have to like communicate with ourselves and communicate with others. Like chiropractors have to get good with themselves before they can get good with other professions. It's like we're beating ourselves up and then trying to make. It's like start small and we're big.
Right.
So it's like focus on heal us first, and then others will trickle out. But
my vision is to integrate medicine and chiropractic, because there are aspects of like some of the medical, like an IV, IV therapy. I mean, they have some incredible studies with people with these crazy diseases, and they do like 10 straight days of IVs, and it just like, re-homeostasis them. I think there's aspects, of medicine that could be advancing where people are at. Some of them, as much as we avoid surgery, sometimes you can't avoid the surgery. So there's limitations to matter and there's limitations to our profession. So if we are able to just collaborate with the medical doctors, there would be less failed spine surgeries. Like there'd be more of an opportunity for people to have a higher quality of life because we understand things that some of these spinal surgeons don't.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, we're not putting screws in people's backs. You know, we have, and this is the thing too. Our industry is so young. There isn't that much research, but just because there's a lack of research doesn't mean there's a lack of truth in how it works. Just means that hasn't been done yet.
Mhm.
You know, like we progress our industry by, by trying things in a way, and we have to figure out what works and what doesn't.
100%.
You know,
And it's hard because I think experience is such an important thing, right? Like I'm sure you've had, just as I've had, like profound experiences in this chiropractic, and for me specifically, like Chinese medicine realm, where like you can't negate this healing. You know, I'm in a hospital for 24, 48 hours, nothing's happening. I have a little Chinese medicine occur. In 45 minutes, I'm out of the hospital that they can figure out what was going on. You know? So it's like, just because, right, and like this was kind of what the debate was about, just because there's a lack of research on something, we might not have the instruments to fully
measure it.
But
doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah, and then don't go to one chiropractor. That's not that good. You have a bad experience, right? Or you go to something more that you think is taboo. You have a bad experience and just ex-nay this, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I know specifically someone whose dad passed away because doctors didn't handle the post-op properly. And like there was a huge lawsuit that if they handled it differently, they literally would have saved his life. And so it's the fact of every profession has
some merit.
Yeah, we're humans. Everyone, you know, there's egos and faults at play. You know, so it's like you're not going to write surgeons off just because they had an accident or something went wrong. You know,
Right.
And unfortunately, that happens across all professions. But then just because of certain aspects of conditioning and financials and brainwashing, this profession gets thrown to the wayside. But then you should ask the question, why are people so drawn to chiropractic? You know, it's not like we're just like, oh, we've never experienced anything. We just love this profession. You know, it's like maybe sit someone down and be like, why do you like this so much? And you're like, I tried XYZ and it wasn't until this and it changed my life. That's why I'm alive. You know? Oh, maybe I should look into the docs they went to.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Not the ones that everyone says are bad and try that and say, they are bad.
$20 investments.
Yeah. So it's like, let's just get in a round circle with the best of every profession and work on each other and see that everything has something amazing to offer.
Well, that would be it too, right? I mean, and this is the whole thing where chiropractic is way more preventive care than it could be. I mean, it could be the world's preventive care. I mean, it still, I would say, is more of reactive care at this moment because the public's perception of chiropractic is that you go there when you get hurt. That they treat chiropractic, and chiropractors speak about chiropractic as if it's following the medical model, which it can, and it is effective, but there's this whole other side of chiropractic that's prevention. Like, I have an incredible spine curve. I was in 3 car accidents in less than 3 months, and nothing changed of my spine. And they, a couple of them were like pretty intense.
Yeah.
So why did that happen? Because I have a spine that's structured perfect for my physiology, we were able to measure that and go, okay, well, I'm more resilient because I don't have instability in my spine.
Yeah.
So you can crash me up and I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
Like if you take a wrecking ball to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, then it might fall over.
Yeah.
If you take a wrecking ball to the World Trade Center, then it's probably going to stand up.
Yeah. Maybe not the best. But yeah, it's
Somebody will get that joke and be laughing really hard. Sorry, guys. Sorry if you were there.
But yeah, it's also the job of the profession to figure out how to work with these other professions and get the right message out and have the right people representing and getting those people the best of a certain profession and getting them with good experiences and realizing that everyone could work together, you know?
Yeah.
It's like some people in your same instance would have needed a spinal surgery, you know?
Yeah.
And other people don't need that.
Yeah.
Specifically, it's like I know a guy that literally laid down, meditated, had different taboo practices that completely healed their spine when they were saying they'd never be able to walk again.
Yeah.
That they needed surgery and there was no other option, you know?
Right.
And it's just, I know there's financials, it all comes back to money. But we can also, there's more people than the people that are making those decisions. And at the end of the day, it's like up to people to educate and be around and listen to the right things so we can get the right education and help each other out of like, okay, that doc said I should do this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me also see any other perspective. Let me do more research into like, you know, there's so much information out there. It's also a little ignorant for people not to do their own research and just believe everything else someone's saying.
Right.
That goes a little back to your point of like, it is also up to people to be different and not be the victim and not just listen to everything, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, so here's the thing too, where it's like the contrary would be how would somebody who has no access to this sort of, how do you even prompt to figure out the answer? You got no connections, you never met a chiropractor, you have no money to go to a chiropractor. How do you even become exposed to the idea that this could be a solution? And if you did, like, how do you even dive deeper?
I think it comes back to, and again, this is the part of where I see just the way people think is changing. Like the way the world thinks and the way we operate and what we believe in is slowly evolving. But I think it's up to the soul of that person to have the journey of wanting to think different, you know? It's like for someone that has no resources, never met this person, never knew a chiropractor, right? It's like if they woke up though and all they knew was this and they didn't feel drawn to that, I believe in the power of God and, you know, seek and you shall find. It's like if you... I've had stuff in my life where I didn't know a certain way, but I felt indifferent about that. Mm-hmm. So I said, it's up to me to figure out why I'm not feeling drawn to that. There has to be something else. Yeah. And then taking that journey. And also maybe you'll find your purpose in the world of that. Oh, you didn't realize other people were also feeling indifferent to that, and find an answer that does feel aligned with you. Mm-hmm. And create something that for other people that were thinking the same thing, but didn't know anything else existed. Right. And just went with that because that's what they were told to do. So I think it's up to the soul and that like innate aspect of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that I don't know if we can control that, you know, or if like I said, the energy in the world is changing. Now the people that see different have to just start like this podcast, plant a little seed. And when those people are ready, you know, when they experience, like, most of the people that see like we see have experienced stuff that then led us to that. And I think as this world continues to drive itself into the ground, people are going to start being like, this can't be everything. And then it's our job to throw out seeds and educate. So when those people are ready, you know, they have a journey and a path that's somewhat paved for them.
Right.
But...
Right.
To answer your question, it's up to the person you were saying they have no resources, they don't know this, they don't know that. Mm-hmm. They have to be courageous enough to say, I don't feel right about that, and start praying and seeking something and asking around, and
Okay.
if you want something bad enough, I think you can find it. I think you can have it.
Mhm.
It might take a day. It might take your whole life, which is the part of like how uncomfortable for how long do you want to be.
Right.
But
So let's say this person is on their journey with God and they have, let's say, the majority of the society now has the awareness of chiropractic as a tool as we know it. There's a spiritual connection, and now they've done the research, they picked up the phone, they took some action, but now they just can't. Maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they live out in an hour away from here, and there's no public transportation to get them to the places where they need to go. Do you think that there is a solution to find a way for people, for chiropractors to help a person in that situation? They're fully committed. They don't have the financial resources, right? Maybe it's a combination of that, and they're far away from a city with a chiropractor. This is true for people with money also. Can't find a good chiropractor.
Yep.
Like in a big, massive city.
Yep.
So let's just say that that's still true for somebody who also doesn't have the money to go to the place where the chiropractor is. What's like potential solutions that we could figure out to serve these people?
Definitely. What comes to mind, again, haven't thought this through, never received this question.
Yeah, that's okay.
But going a little spiritual for a sec, right? Like not all, like we're just facilitating healing, right? Like we spoke about in the debate, like I'm not going in there and fixing this hepatocyte, to act differently, like,
You're like,
cutting it. Yeah, I'm doing things to your body, which is removing what's getting in the way so that your body can return back to that state of being, right? And so I think, especially in our profession, I think a lot of us understand that. And I think we then know that the healing is coming from a source that's beyond us, right? And I think if we understand and should be grateful that it's like we've been given this tool to help other people, and then allowing them to act out their own healing, right? And going back to the whole sense of what runs a lot of this profession in our debate was like can't be measured and all of that, right? But tying that back to your question, I think it's that it falls then on the chiropractors to have that gratitude for this tool we've been given, these techniques that we have, the systems we have, and realizing that if we don't give back in some way, we're also going to kill our own profession, because if we're like we kind of came to the conclusion before, if you have something to pay the bills and have something to like give back, for me personally, like making something happen in that regard. But yeah, if you have someone that can't get in touch with a good chiropractor, or
maybe they know who it is.
Yeah, maybe they know who it is and they can't afford it.
Yeah.
I think that again falls on us that we're not giving back enough. Like something I don't know. I've studied a lot of greats in history, and a lot of them were broke, right? And it's not that I'm telling every person like forget yourself. It's about everyone else. But I think in a sense we've become so money driven we forget that at the end of the day it's about like the more you can give, will fulfill you more than any amount of money can bring you. And I understand the benefits of having money and getting to experience life, and I do think that's important in some aspect. And I also think helping people and understanding that to bring more healing to the world will bring you far more joy and gratitude in life than being like, I'm such an amazing doc and I'm charging this much, and if these people can't afford me, that's their problem. I think what we shouldn't follow then in the reason of why we're so distanced with other professions because of financial reasoning. But I think we should take it upon ourselves and be different and show up and say, like, all right, if I'm met and like everything I want's handled, like I need to now give back because I've been blessed with this tool of allowing to bring forth great healing,
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately we get a little screwed with like insurance and all that type of stuff that's not on our side to be able to give these people opportunities.
Right.
So sadly, I think it just falls that if we want to continue to have we have to suffer so that the profession doesn't suffer. And I think that's an unfortunate situation that we're at.
Well, we're just at a time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, so here's the deal, right? 150 years of chiropractic, nearly 130 something. But we think about, okay, well, there are a lack of chiropractors, period. Starting there. Relative to medical doctors, there's a lack of chiropractors. Of the chiropractors that are in practice, like our statistics are terrible. The average duration of a chiropractic career is 5 years right now, which is low.
Yeah.
The statistics of failed businesses are very low. There are people. I had Dr. Tony Daniil on here. He's an owner of Chiropractic One. Their goal is $1 billion in revenue or 1,000 offices, and they're only a few years away from accomplishing that, which is crazy. They, we have the Joint, which isn't going to be a long-term solution for chiropractic, but it is available for people who have less money. But we have a lack of chiropractors that, one, to have like a knowledge of much of anything. Most of these schools don't even have clubs that students can learn these specialties in, and they're not teaching them in school.
Mm-hmm.
So then the onus goes back on the student or the new doc to go pay to learn to have these specialties, which, is the idea of a residency or apprenticing, really, being a contract doctor. Of the chiropractors that we have, if it's our responsibility to serve the public, then maybe this is a way that we bring more chiropractors into the profession. But there's got to be, again, in my opinion, I think we do have a responsibility to give back. It's within my ideas to have a practice that's like the top level practice for people who are looking for that and can afford that. And there's also a completely charitable thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sure, as you're saying, the charitable version will be the most fulfilling because people are grateful for it and they're looking. But I also believe that people paying an incredibly high amount of money for the skills would also appreciate it because they're willing to put a financial exchange into it. Money for me is more of energy, right?
That is another aspect of it. Is it's funny when you give like free care, those are the people that are least committed.
Yeah.
So it's a.
It doesn't.
My
doesn't
word of the
benefit
podcast
their
is
health.
dichotomy.
Yeah,
but this is what I'm putting. Is like.
Well, it's true.
People that you give free care to, they're not committed. But then when you charge so much, and then they say we can't afford the care,
then you're the bad guy.
Yeah. Then you're just like, all right, so.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right?
So that's a problem that I struggle with is like, so what's the middle ground? Like how do I get as many people?
I want to go to, I hear all these incredible stories of going to serve communities that are very spiritually based, but almost third world, like third world or teetering third world. Where they're you can go to different places in Fiji, different places in the Caribbean. You can go to different places, Africa, maybe more of like Asia in some aspects, indigenous places where they understand the power of the human and that there are medicine men and they heal you. And so you rock up there with freaking 10 people in adjusting tables, like they'll bring thousands because and they'll bring the sickest ones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's do that.
And
you know,
and a lot of those communities too, they do like donation based. You know,
Yeah.
It's like the person that's working on all the people. You know,
Yeah.
It's donation based, so it's like, oh, that person had X disease, and after this week, that's disappeared. You know,
right? Spontaneous.
Yeah,
remission.
spontaneous.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever you feel called to give. Was that disease worth $5 to you, or 10,000? You know, or whatever you have to offer. You know,
Right.
but they see it more as that energetic exchange. You know, which is a beautiful thing to witness. But
But in America,
in America,
I had a podcast with Jared Whalen. He's specializes in upper cervical and knee chest. He practices some other things too, but he was telling me that he got out of chiropractic school and did a box in the wall, is what he called it, where you just put whatever you don't want. In America, he opened up a practice with a partner, and they just did donation based, and that was it. And not to say that he's like the gold standard of everybody. He's an incredibly successful chiropractor. He's rocking up 7 incredibly high level practices. You know, he's our owner. I mean, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're seeing volumes like, 700 a week, 500 a week, and then they're building more. The idea is they want to make 300 of those offices. Like, this is a high level dude.
Yeah.
Started out with a box in the wall, and it failed because not everybody values it. They don't even know what is happening in this. The reality is the doctor knows what's happening. The patient feels better, and then they quit because this is what you got to come to my uncle's to learn the communication of it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, you can have you could be the most skilled chiropractor ever and not know how to talk to a patient, and they'll leave. Or you can take some person, a chiropractor who's not that great, and he just talks about empowerment, God, freaking just how incredible chiropractic is. He's just fired up, and everybody feels good around him. That dude's got 1,000, 2,000 people a week, and he's adjusting half of them by himself. Like, why is that happening? It's because of the communication and what they're focused on. Like, some of these doctors who are incredibly analytical, they get too wrapped up, and people don't care about that. They don't. They really don't give a shit about the same things that we do. They just want to pick up their baby. And if you tell them, I can help you pick up their baby, if it only takes 5 adjustments to pick up their baby, then they're not going to continue coming unless you teach them that there's something else that's happening. It takes longer.
Yeah.
Like, you may be able to pick up your baby after 5 adjustments, but in order to prevent that from happening for the rest of your life, you need to come here for 60. And if you just tell somebody that, they're going to be like, that makes no sense. So then you have to show them something objective that's not too far into like a lecture in 15 minutes.
Or even using, I think testimony is like the biggest help to getting people to be open to things, right? So it's like also I've personally never seen a widespread. You see social media stuff, but I don't know. I've with all the social media out there, with all the stuff, I've never seen like a story of like chiropractic that just like changes person's life, that like all these professions or like people got to see. Or even if it is, there's 8 billion people, there's not that many people that have a story. They're kind of dormant. My stories, not many people know about them. And so I think if people also heard of, right, you hear all the time, oh, I got this knee surgery, this doc's the best,
Yeah.
You never hear, oh, I had this chiro help me with my headaches, and I never had a headache for the next 20 years.
Or cancer. Something, something where you're like, what? What did you just say?
Exactly.
Yeah, I had irritable bowel disease, and I went to the chiropractor. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I think also getting the testimonies of people that have had success take the weight off the shoulders of us having to like spend hours educating this person when they're just like not even going to believe a thing that we say. You know, you could
Right.
shove all the research, you could shove everything down their throat, and they're still going to sit here until their best friend comes out and says, "Yeah, I went to that guy and he saved my life." You know, so
Or you figure out a way to communicate to make them uncross their arms.
yeah, or
Yeah.
make them safe and comfortable and go down to their level. You know,
Yeah.
and just keep in touch and show that you care about them.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like our teacher said. He was a great adjuster. He prided himself on that, and then he asked all his patients, like, "Oh, why did you come to me, or why do you like coming here?" And they just said everything about how he communicated with them.
Yeah.
And then
That's
he
it.
created
People just
a
want to feel
debate
loved,
class
man.
for
Yeah,
us.
that's it. Right. Exactly.
You know, so
Yeah,
I just want to be seen, heard, cared for, felt safe. Yeah,
That's
everything after that's just a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Well, I think that there's a reason why we don't hear those stories. One is because chiropractors are afraid to claim that
Yeah.
legally there's repercussions to claim X, Y, and Z, even though it's happened.
Mhm.
Even, undoubtedly that's what happened. You can't advertise that that's what happened. Somebody could say it. So then you gotta give it to the hands of the patient. A patient's not an Instagram star, then nobody is gonna, they can't keep the attention of the public.
Yeah.
So then let's say you do have a chiropractor who's charismatic, he's got, a massive following. Is he able to tell someone's story in a way that grabs their attention in the first 2 seconds? Or if I just rip your head off and you hear this crunch, you're like, whoa, what happened? This is the aspect of a part of the marketing that we are in that contributes to what people believe about chiropractic. I don't know if I was talking with you. Were we talking about the guy with the big hammer and the chisel? Okay. You would know because we went. Yeah. There's a chiropractor. He's got a hammer and a chisel, and he just chisels all these people's muscles and like on the paraspinals, but on the sides of their spines and like their traps. He literally has a chisel and a big dumb red hammer. He's just like ting 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 ting. And they're like, wow. And then, you get a big giant football player. His hammer's like 3 feet. And he's like trying to it's ridiculous. Is that helping? Totally. It totally could be helping. There is plausible, you could even say there's research done having an impulse on someone's spine. If I'm going to a chiropractor and you're holding a fucking clown hammer and you're not, you're, just chiseling my trap, I'd be like, I'll get my girlfriend to do that. Why do I need you, bro? You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
But that guy has millions of views.
Yeah.
That guy's in football players are like, come chisel me.
Yeah.
But it's like, we're not talking about, we're not talking about nervous system.
A lot of the media in our profession does not give us credibility. You have a neurosurgeon that sounds like the most brilliant guy I've ever heard on the planet. And then the next thing's a chiropractor doing an adjustment, not speaking, and it's just like the noise, and I'm just it's just not looking, But if you think of anything as, still crying. If you think of anything as a business, right, or marketing and how it looks. If I started a drink company, right?
Yeah.
And say you're like a huge person with a big following, right?
Yeah.
And you have a lot of credibility, and I'm trying to get credibility, right? First of all, I'd be trying to make myself look credible, and then second of all, I'd be trying to collab with someone with credibility, and have enough education on drinks, and I could talk the whole language that they're talking, so I come to them, and by somehow having a skill or what I have to offer, you agree to do a collab with me, right? So you're giving, like, us pairing together now brings credibility.
Right.
It's like, I don't get why chiros that are so highly intelligent and have big followings aren't growing to other professions that are held so credible and doing podcasts with them and, like, that stuff blowing up. But instead, we want to focus on, like, all the stuff that
Well, people
drives
enjoy it.
our
Attention.
it's we're following like what doesn't help us, but like what gets views.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we not doing suffer on the views but gain the credibility, a little bit at least.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would be figuring out how to bridge, like if I'm like big in chiropractic, I'd be reaching out to other people big in chiropractic. And if you're big in chiropractic, you have a lot of connections with tons of different doctors,
Yeah.
because you're highly respected and educated. And I would just be getting as much brand awareness for our profession out with other professions that are highly respected. There's so many different docs out there of all different disciplines that have had their own experiences, getting those stories told, But maybe that's for you to do,
Now we gotta pick professions that we don't like erase the professions of how incredible the chiropractic is.
I guess that's our problem. Yeah.
That's the problem, right? People.
Yeah,
Hey.
they're like, if you're doing good work, my patient load just got cut.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't win. No, but
No.
that is honestly
No, it's a good
problem
idea
to
to
that is a
collaborate.
problem, though.
It is. It's an aspect of it.
It is. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, we don't need to get into that fully, but I think
Collaborate
that
with a
is
spinal surgeon.
yeah.
If the spinal surgeon is benevolent, and a chiropractor could admit there's a threshold to there's nothing that he could do or she could do, like then go to the spinal surgeon because he understands all this other shit that we know.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's going to put a curve in your back that's not going to debilitate you. A lot of times what happens if you're watching and you're thinking about having spine surgery and your surgeon's like, yeah, we're just going to keep you from getting worse. That's the wrong move.
Yeah.
Because if you're experiencing what you feel now and your surgeon's like, we're just going to prevent this from getting worse, you're going to continue to feel what you feel. This is the whole thing. We see it all the time on x-rays. They have somebody with a terrible shaped spine. They got all sorts of instability and they got compression on their spinal cord, which means essentially you just got pain shooting down your legs and shooting in your back. You can't do anything. You can't work. You got to get out of the bed a certain way. I mean, this is what the public's going to understand, not all the things we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's you and you've made it this far in this podcast, you're probably going to be a chiropractor. Yeah. But if it is you, and your spine surgeon's like, yo, we're just going to prevent this from getting worse, like that's a terrible idea. I mean, you do want it to prevent it from getting worse, but there are spine surgeons who are aware of how to put your spine back into place to where you're not experiencing all that pain. You get function back. And again, I'm not saying that this is what would happen with every single person because I'm not your doctor and I'm not a spine surgeon, but
yeah,
And
I think that's something important to note, right? Is like I see a lot of try not to downplay anything or to criticize anything. All I'm saying is, from my perspective, I see us needing to get so much education, like even outside of school. I'll be looking up like top pharmacology textbooks and throwing that into ChatGPT. Like I want to learn about every drug there is out. Like I want to learn all the Western medicine, so I can talk both languages and come to a medium.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for our profession. Is like I don't want to spend the time going to med school, but I've theorized like, do I need to go get a PhD or an MD?
Yeah.
If like you want to be part of the bridge, because you do need to speak that language. So I'm trying to figure out what that looks like, because I think it's important. Even though there are already people with DCs and MDs, that don't.
They don't do that.
Yeah.
They're not really doing that.
Yeah, they're not trying to, like, they have it for the education, not to bridge
Yeah.
so there needs to be people that are getting both degrees. It's a lot of time and money.
Yeah, it's like the
and
whole
energy,
life
but
commitment.
Yeah, it's like 10 to 20 years of your
Yeah.
life.
I don't know
but-
if my grades are. I'm gonna have to retake a couple classes. Though. You're gonna be okay. They're gonna accept it and be like, this guy. I could
But
maybe
I-
talk my way into a medical school. I'd be like,
Yeah.
listen, I come with him. All right.
Yeah. You're like, I just bought the hospital.
Yeah, I just bought the hospital. Let me in the fucking door, okay? Yeah, that's funny. True.
You work for me.
Yeah. You work for me. De facto, I'm your boss. So.
But yeah, I think it's important for our profession to realize that we need to have not just the bare minimum of what we learn in school through all the sciences, but like it's important. Like all the people are like, oh, once I take the first board, which is straight sciences, like I don't need any of that, And I'm like, that's what gives us credibility to speak that language. If you don't use a second of that, like, okay. But you're going to need to be explaining, like when I worked for a doc in South Florida, we had was it MD or DO come in, and the doc I worked for was brilliant. And I was sitting at the front desk and I could hear him like talking through the wall, like slightly. And like once they were all finished up, just having like a friendly conversation when the door was open, and they're just talking like medical banter, and it was cool to hear because I was just like, if the D or MD, whatever he was asking questions to this doc and he didn't have the language to respond or know what he was talking about, that guy would have walked out of there and not trusted him at all. So it's important to have this understanding of their language, right? It's like if you speak Spanish and I speak English, how am I going to make friends with you by trying to speak English to you? I got to learn your language, learn some Spanish, and then you start to trust me more because now I know your language, and then you'd start to like warm up to me, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, it's just another language. It's different languages, True. So I think that's like part of what we need to get out there too, is like getting our profession to realize all these things that we're taught in school. Like, don't just drop that and never remember it, or like continue to learn, continue to keep speaking that language. Maybe you don't need to be so in depth with it, but if you have an MD come into your office or give you a referral and she starts asking you questions and you can't answer it, you just lost credibility, you just lost business, and now you're just sitting there like, damn, I wish I paid attention more that first year of school.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's important. I think also getting in the profession of health and wellness, like you should genuinely want to be educating and learning, it's a lifelong journey of education.
Totally. I mean, being a lifelong learner, regardless of what your profession is probably just a better thing to be.
100%.
Like and with health, it's fun. I mean, I feel like, dude, it's like the kid's got something to say. Come here. You want to say hi to all the people on live stream? Come here. Come on. Look. This is the fluffy cat. Oh. This is the fluffy cat. Fluffy cat. Her name's Yue. Say hello, everybody. Hello. All right. I think it's interesting to prove, like, the efficacy of chiropractic. We were talking about this in our debate. Like, why wouldn't you want to be objective? Like, absolutely, the objectivity is, to me, the bridge between us and medicine. Like, they're 1,000% objective.
Mm-hmm.
They basically don't give anything credit unless it's objective.
Yeah.
So we're going in there like, okay, check out this book, man. It's hella good. Like, we got the power, which is true. I'm not saying it's not true. But if we just prove that the power is fucking working, like, we're like, if you deny this, you are denying all logic, a valid and sound logic, reason. Like, you're crazy to disregard this as factual.
Yeah.
That is what chiropractic has to come in with, undeniable truth.
Yeah.
And then you just give them the middle finger and you're like, so now what?
Yeah.
We're proving what we've said for so many years. We put our differences aside as chiropractors. Come on, just put it aside, guys. And then we're just like, yo, here's the deal. Maybe there's a way to do central conduction tests with AK. Wouldn't it be crazy to prove something with AK?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you figured out how to do that, then you could, all right, let's fucking light it up. And somebody could dedicate 30, 40 years to proving every connection they ever thought of.
Yeah.
It's not, and you're like, the AK guys are like, it's already proven, just look at a map of the nervous system. And you're like, I agree. You don't have to convince me. You know what I mean? But for somebody else, you're like, how could you do that? It's not connected. You're like, it's connected.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not even acknowledging that the nervous system through the spinal cord is connected to organs and tissues. Chiropractic schools aren't even teaching chiropractors that their disease and pathology is connected through the spine at a certain level with your liver, your kidneys, or your heart. You know, asthma, you got to check the neck curve. Allergies, check a neck curve. You got reproductive issues, check the low back. Like, there is a connectedness between it all. And it's like, well, it's defined in any anatomy book you ever looked at, regardless if you're a medical student or a chiropractic student. Just follow the yellow line.
Yeah.
You know? But people don't understand the nervous system.
No.
They don't understand. In our own profession, we talk about what is a subluxation. And it's like crazy to me because, you know, chiropractic biophysics defines a subluxation in 6 ways. I don't remember all 6 off the top of my head, but essentially these definitions stem from engineering and physics. How an object moves in time and space on 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. A subluxation is clearly defined, and it's not theoretical, it's measurable. So if we just chose, I'm not even saying I think the answer is to choose CBP, but let's just say something objective that is measurable. It could be anything. If we just agree to something that's objective, measurable, and individual, not like this is objective and measurable, but all individuals should fall into this, because that's just never going to be true. You can't treat a 6'5" dude the same as me. I'm 5'6". That's the reverse. So you can't. It's not going to work, bro.
Yeah.
So you can't treat a female anatomy the same as male anatomy. They're different. So if we're objective in the way that we just go, I can understand what's happening with your spine. That's the step 1. We're not even at step 1, bro. Even people who practice CBP, I'm not going to step on some toes, but I am trying to ruffle up the feathers. I'm trying to be more controversial so I can get more views.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear, bro. Rip them. Well, here's the deal. I get fired up about this because I want my mom to be healthy. I bring up my mom all the time. And the other podcasts that we got, I'm trying to take care of my mom. That's it. Not it, but it's very important to me to take care of my mother. She's fine. She's totally healthy. And she takes her health very seriously. What upsets me is going to these specialists that are highly qualified. They will remain nameless. But in this specialty, they should be assessing her full spine from the front and from the side, and in every way that we know they should be fucking checking. And they don't. I send her a list of all the x-rays that she should have, and they're like, it's like pulling teeth. Like, I gotta ask them 3 times. I'm like, Mom, make them take these x-rays. And then, you know what they find? Fucking problems. Stupid. They're not being, and it's like, oh, it takes too long. Really? How fast can you click a button 11 times? You know what I mean? It's like, it really isn't, we're talking about minutes, 5 or less, 3 if you're good. You know? Hey, stand there. Click, 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 turn to the side. 1, 2, 3. Tilt your neck up and down. Bend and touch your toes. Lean back. And then let me just take a picture of your hips. Like, it really is that simple. And then we go, this is the baseline. I can't even trust the people who are qualified and have learned that this is a standard of measurement to do that. I have to call them.
Yeah.
You know, like, that is so aggravating to me that I have to ask twice. And this is like where the second purpose of my life comes in. And this is to teach chiropractors how to have better businesses because they're terrible. It's like, so you're going to sacrifice my mother's health for efficiency? We're talking 3 minutes. Like, your priorities are fucked, brother. Sorry, but your priorities are not in the right place. So how can I get you some more money so you can put it on your dinner table and maybe teach you how to use your money so you're not blowing it on fucking retard stuff, and then take care of my fucking mom. How about that?
Yeah.
How about I teach you how to make it 6 figures more,
Yeah.
and then you can take care of my mom, please.
I feel like it's talked about and like blatant, right, when our profession has downfalls.
Yeah.
But it's confusing because every other profession in the medical realm has so many downfalls
Totally.
that are, in my eyes, blatant, you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like it's crazy how brainwashed society is, because it's like they're like desensitized to that stuff, you know.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
it's like how society is desensitized to everything. Like, oh, something terrible happened again, you know. Like, oh, what do you want for dinner, honey? You know.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh,
that
just blew up.
something bad happened in that profession. Like, oh, blah blah blah. But it's like, oh, this chiropractor like scammed whatever, and it's like, I knew that profession. Was
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
somehow not desensitized
To chiropractic. Yeah. That's funny. That's kind of true, huh?
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so interesting.
Yeah. I don't mean to badmouth chiropractic guys. I'm not saying I'm
No,
saying
but
that's
like,
the answer. I'm saying we got
we're
the
under
answer.
scrutiny, so we have to be that much better. You know,
I agree, dude.
Like we have to, if like a child in school is like looked under a microscope, like that child has to be acting perfect, otherwise they're gonna get called out on everything they do.
Yeah.
Right now, we've always been scrutinized, so it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know why as a profession we're not like, maybe it's tiring for us or something like that. But I don't understand why we're not on our best behavior, you know? I mean, I get why there's plenty of people in every industry that don't go into it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those that do go into it for the right reasons need to be getting that out there and like making a big enough voice so that the big voice isn't the issues that are happening, you know? I feel like a lot of the people in our profession that are doing good, they like keep to themselves and they're in the corner and
Yeah.
they're just
It's true.
low-key healing miracles.
Yeah.
But the people that aren't doing good, it's like all over the news, you know? But you hear of any other profession, it's like you hear usually good stuff, and then the bad stuff is just like thrown to the wayside.
Totally.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like an interesting situation.
An interesting dichotomy.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say that word. And
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
yeah.
I'm like,
I used it too much. Yeah.
But
That's funny, man.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. But I think it's important just to continue to get the message out, continue to share stories. So on that note, I'd like to ask you a question. What's your biggest healing you've seen or personally received in this profession?
That I've seen.
Or received.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go full blown God mode on this one. Yeah. I was with my second wife, and I don't know if we were married at the time, but just we were going to be separated. Actually, it was like in this moment where like there were some things that went down, and we were like, it's not gonna work out, I don't think. But you know, we had some LSD. We were tripping, right? We're having this trip and trying to like just like sort things out as just to sort it out, you know? I'm sitting there and I was laying on the bed and I was like, I feel like a shoelace. All right. Now, granted, I'm trying to put you all in the story, okay? So I'm tripping, I'm laying on the bed, and I was laying there and I felt like a shoelace, like a giant shoelace. Just like a big shoelace. And the reason I said that is because there's no flow, there's no water. It's just like weaved together. And if it was a giant shoelace, it'd probably be a bit heavy. And I was just like laying. And we were talking about some like personal things, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel like I can't feel my heart. And not like in this instance, but just like generally I just didn't feel my heart in this for a long time, for years. And Piari was like going through yoga teacher training, so she had all this like embodiment language that she was going through, and she was like, well, and like took me through this heart-centered embodiment, right? And so I forget what she said, but basically like, do you feel your heart? And I'm like, no. And then we just like,
She's like,
yeah. And I was like, yeah.
You're like, no,
Yeah, exactly. Do it again. So anyways, I'm like sitting there, and then I just felt like all of a sudden like deflated to this side. Because at first I was a shoelace, totally square, and then I just felt like my right side deflate. And the right side is, metaphorically structure and fatherly figures. And my father raised me, my biological father. I don't know, he left, so I was adopted. And I have my mom and my father that raised me. He's dad. So, but there's this sense, like through this time, I was going through like a spiritually based self-empowerment system, and I was realizing all these choices that I had been making. I think stemming from like this abandonment. Male abandonment, because my biological father left. Like I knew who he was, and then it just obviously wasn't going to work out. But I started noticing that in my life, I had created all these relationships with older men, and I was always looking for acceptance from older men, right? And like, I mean, serial, like always trying to like prove myself, even to my own father. So anyways, I'm tripping. I feel myself deflate on the right side, and I'm explaining this to Piari, and I'm like, okay, well, I've deflated my right side. I feel like, I just don't have any structure.
I can't.
And my left side, well, this was the time of all of my artistry, tattoos, music. I was creating everything, videos, like I was just so creative. So my left side just felt like totally inflated.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was telling her, I don't feel my heart. I feel like I'm deflated. And then like something happened, right? Like a thought in my mind, she asked me something, and I took a deep breath. And then I just saw this like big, do you ever do Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Like 100 million years ago.
Okay, well, there's one called the Dark Magician for all of you people out there. There's like this archaic circular symbol. And it's got all these like geometric patterns in it. It's cool. And so I'm sitting there, and then I see this thing just go, because again, I'm tripping, right? And I see this thing come on, and I felt like it was raining on my eyes. And I just erupted in like sobbing, because I felt like God was crying onto me because of what I was describing, how I hadn't felt my heart in so many years. I just felt like I didn't have any structure in my life or any like male role model, which is not the truth. I do have plenty of I had plenty of male role models, but it was just a feeling, right? So I burst out into tears, and I take this deep breath. And as I took this deep breath, I felt my right side inflate, and I felt it like kind of like my whole arm just like, and I realized that this was like a moment for me where I was accepting God,
Mm-hmm.
and not that I really banished God out of my life ever. It just was just like, this was a point where I'm like, okay, I'm accepting this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a part of my life, and then that made me feel even more emotional. And then I saw like my heart, and it was all black, and there was a bunch of holes in it. And like there's barely even a heart left.
Mm.
And I take this big breath, and and then light started to shine from inside my heart, and I started to see the holes be filled by the light. Like the light was closed, like it would like there was a hole in the heart, and the light was shining through, and then the light would shut off because it was filled. Then does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I let out the craziest sound. I'll never forget it, bro, because I was just like, I kind of screamed. It was just like it was just like this really sustained. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Not that sound.
Not that sound. It's all good. But I let out this big, long sound, and it was electric. And what I felt, I was laying straight on the bed like a shoelace. I felt my entire spine go, and my whole spine started like cavitating.
Mm-hmm.
And aligning all the way up from the base of my sacrum all the way up to my head. And as this is happening, I'm kind of like, my chest is up, and I'm realizing that the sound that I was making was like healing my body.
Mm-hmm.
And the light was so bright coming from my heart, and I just was like, ah! And it all filled, and as soon as I was done, it was like the cat was in the room, and both me and PI, because I had hair like down to here at this point, both of our hair was like static. And it was just, the cat was like a really long-haired cat, and the whole cat was like,
That's great.
and it was like, in the other corner of the room, and it was just like the amount of energy that came from my body in that moment was like that. It was just something that was not of this world.
Yeah.
And for me, and then as soon as I like saw all that, I just again erupted in like complete emotional breakdown, because I just felt like that was God entered me and filled all the voids that I was feeling in one instant.
Mm.
And so for me, that was probably the most significant non-traditional event of healing. And from that point, I was like, okay, this is my purpose is to bring people to God and to be a chiropractor, because that was unexplainable. And then, PR and I stayed together for another, 4 years or whatever after that. So for me, that was a really big thing. I mean, there were times, I feel like, I'll tell you one more story. When I was using cocaine a lot, and I'd sleep like 4 days a month, like I would be up for 6 to 10 days at a time, and just be hustling. And it came to a point where, I was using so much that, for people who've done cocaine, I was doing like an 8 ball or 2 or sometimes even 3 in a day by myself.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So you get to this point where it's just kind of like you're doing it all the time, and I was smoking it. And so I was with somebody, and I decided, like, our deal was like we were always kind of using together, because that's the situation it was. And it was just really, there was never really a time where we would do it outside of each other. It was almost like we were there to protect each other. Even though we were like going deep, like there was this layer of like, this was a way that we were both healing from different aspects of our life. And so I wanted to smoke this like a massive hit, and I did it when they were gone. And I fucking ripped it, man. It was big. You know, it was like astronomically big. I just wanted to know what it felt like. And this is a point where, you know, this is the first time that this happened, but I took the rip and I couldn't inhale it all. I used to be able to freaking rip a bong and hold the smoke into my lungs for so long without breathing that I would blow none out. It's like, yeah, it was just, you know, mental, you know? And I couldn't finish taking it in because my heart stopped. Like I smoking it and my heart went poof, poof. And then it stopped. And I started to go deaf. My ears went beep, and then no sound. And then my eyes started to white out. And so I put the bong down. And I'm just in this moment of nothing. Like time was my choice. Like time stopped and I was in this moment and I could just choose what happened, it felt like. And so I checked my pulse and I didn't have my own pulse. And so I'm like, there's nothing there. And I'm like, realize that I'm going to die. I could choose to die or I could choose to live. But I was in this, time had stopped for me to choose where I was going because I for sure overdosed myself. And so I did what any intelligent person would do. I stopped my heart, so I grabbed a baggie of the powder cocaine and snorted it so I could start my heart again. So,
Genius.
it's fucking genius, bro. It really is, bro. Yeah, bro, exactly, bro. So I put out a big line, fucking started it, start my heart back up, and as soon as it did, it was like, and I was like, and it was close. So then I was like, fuck, I didn't tell the other person. I thought it just happened. But so I went outside to go smoke a cigarette, and was just like, whoa, you know, that was a trip, you know? And then I saw, you know, this is where it gets to the ethereal weird part, right? Then in the middle of the street, I see just a cloaked being. And it was just hovering in the middle of the street, and it was just peering at me, just like, just kind of like floating in this way. And there's a telepathic communication where it was just like, look how close we are. And that was the only thing that was the only message. It just said, look how close we are. And then I was just fucking chiefing cigarettes, like watching it for like 15 minutes, you know? And then it just kind of like slowly faded away. And I was like, that was it. Like that was the moment, you know, where I'm telling this story because it's such an incredible representation to me of the choice of life for myself. And even through the most intense time or usage of drugs, there was a choice for me. And this happened a couple times and in different ways with a couple different drugs. But always it was just kind of like this moment where it was like you have the choice to live or the choice to die. So you asked me, what's the most incredible healing? And I also think that those moments, they were healing for me because I chose life. You know, when clearly I could have died in multiple times. I almost suffocated myself with whippets because I am just too egoic. And I was, you know, you get higher the longer you hold your breath. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll hold my breath until I kill myself. Like, apparently I did. I just thought I was trying to get super high. I was like, it fucking turned blue, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, and then came back. I remember what happened when I turned blue. I remember watching the TV and watching, like, Sammy Davis Jr. on the TV. And then I like, came back, and the girl I was with at the time, I was dating a realtor, and she was just like she saw a ghost, and I was like, I was just telling her, I like so chill, like, wow, man, I just had the craziest freaking however 10 seconds because I was just watching Sammy Davis Jr. I was at a really trip, and she was like, you turned blue, like you were dead, and then you just came back. You know?
That's crazy.
It's crazy, bro. It's so crazy. So none of those are chiropractic stories.
I love that. The profession.
Yeah. Chiropractic's the best, though, guys. Come on.
That's
No.
but
Yeah.
those are crazy stories, though.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, that all that stuff behind the scenes, you know, is what's causing all of this to exist, for things like chiropractic to work, for any medicine to work. You know, it's like a surgeon, they're not changing the brain cell, the liver, you know, it's like they're doing whatever and the body's healing itself, you know. It's cool to see the fabric behind reality, though, you know. It's like when you have those moments close to death.
The bridge, as they say.
Yeah, the veil.
Living on the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to peek behind the veil, and it's like you get to see a little glimpse of what's going on, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, those are crazy stories.
Yeah. My uncle has the greatest chiropractic stories of healing, you know. I'll give you one. You got one? It's not as long. It's a good one. This is one of my favorite stories of my uncle. He used to address this little Italian lady, had piercing blue eyes like you. And she got news on a Friday that her kidneys or her liver were just going to fail and she was going to die on Monday. And she had been coming to my uncle for quite a long time, right? She called my uncle and said, hey, you got to start coming to my house because the doctors told me I'm going to die on Monday. And you're going to have to start coming to my house now. And so my uncle's like, all right, no worries. Like, yeah, my uncle is so convicted of chiropractic, by the way. Like, he teaches people, Dr. Fred DiDomenico, if you don't know, look him up. You know, he sees chiropractic as life and death. With chiropractic, you live. Without chiropractic, you die. And this is the story of that, where this woman, she was 96, 97, something like that, walking totally all good, you know, seemingly. And then my uncle starts going to her house every week on a Wednesday or Fridays. And 1 week she goes, okay, that's it. You know, you don't have to come here anymore. He goes, what are you talking about? Like, I'm going to adjust you. She goes, no, you don't, I don't need you anymore. He goes, I don't understand what you mean. She says, I just needed you to keep me alive so I can see the rest of my family. And I can just get all my things in order. But now that I've done that, I don't need you anymore. She fucking died on a Monday, bro.
Wow.
He adjusted her on Friday, and she lived for months. And then she died 3 days later without chiropractic.
Said, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
He gave her one last adjustment. She died 3 days later, dude.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I get chills thinking about that story. It's like, you know, other ones where AIDS patients came, and, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s, he said that he would scoop them out, the mothers. They'd be like 90 pounds, but a 6'2" man. And they're just bones. And after 6 months of chiropractic care, they were normal. Everything was normal. Their T-cell counts were down. Their body weight was fine. They had a completely regular life after that. And then one day, this is on 2 different men, they stopped. They didn't want to. They stopped coming. And 6 months later, they both died. Both of them, without chiropractic. With chiropractic, they lived, and without that, they died.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to see one of the boys, you know, again, 90 pounds again, and he just thanked my uncle he thanked him. But the problem was that they took on the identity of an AIDS patient.
Mm.
And that was too hard for them to live with. So they had an emotional death because their physical body was able to survive with chiropractic and it thrived. You know, that is a level of healing that, how do you measure that? How do you measure that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why you may want to watch the thing I did with my medical buddy.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of long, and there's some parts where you may have to just like 2x it, you know. But there, for me, I felt emotional yesterday having this podcast with him because I realized that like there's an aspect of chiropractic where we are connecting people with God, and I have chills right now feeling this. Like, this is why we exist, is because there's this connection that we have been conditioned to not believe in anymore, and just have to be objective about everything, which is great. I mean, people used to just heal each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they just used to help each other heal in these ways, and then we freaking burned them. Like literally, like, yeah. So it's just
like, oh, you're doing good.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. That's good. Like, bro, I got some of my. Yeah.
It's crazy though, but seriously.
Yeah. This is the thing. Why would they do that? You know, I had Justin Leslie on here, and he talks about that place in, like San Francisco, whatever it's called, it's called, with the big owl.
Yeah.
But they talk about energy work.
Yeah.
You know, like, of course, they talk about the energy work, and there's merit. We're frequencies and wavelengths.
Yeah. Anything's used for good or bad.
Yeah.
It exists and it's real.
Yeah. And you can measure it.
Like, you could take a knife to cut a piece of chicken or to kill someone, you know? And it's like, it's the same medium that exists.
Yeah.
You know, not to be graphic, but it's like the same medium that exists to do good or to do bad.
Right.
And yeah, there's plenty of people using things for good and for bad, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think chiropractic could be used for bad.
Yeah.
Unless, yeah.
I mean, maybe you could adjust people like hella wrong all the time.
Yeah.
But the intention of it.
Yeah,
You're going to get cancer, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, though. Those are crazy stories.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's got a lot more.
Yeah, dude, you should watch the Randy Kale one. The Randy Kale one, he talks about upper cervical, and he had a hospital ward. So, like, he was the only person in chiropractic in the United States that had patients 24 hours a day, other than BJ Palmer, when they were doing that. Which, he had a full nursing staff. I mean, he'd go adjust him all day and night. 7 p.m., 10 p.m. And, people fly from all over the world to come be adjusted by him. I mean, it's just crazy, bro. Like, for me, I hear that story and I'm like, I can't have anything less than that. Like, if I'm going to prove that our ability to heal each other, it should be at a level like that, where I have to own a hospital, and there's an infirmary, and there's nurses there, but we're freaking adjusting people. And it's unexplainable. Nobody can explain what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, how is this working? And people want to shut us down, but people are healing and they can't do it. It would be a disservice to the world to shut it down.
Yeah.
And maybe you get fucking thrown in jail or shot. But I've already chosen life so many times that a bullet's not taking me out. Bro.
Yeah.
I'll pull that shit out.
Yeah.
Go. How do you do that? Fucking hurt. Like, I feel no pain. I'll just be like, yeah, and then like it'll like come out of me, like yeah, kill them. Yeah.
But very true. Yeah, it's like, it's hard because we're trying to prove a profession that some of it's inexplainable.
Yeah.
It's like some of the greatest things in life you don't have the instruments to describe.
Yeah.
Like no neurosurgeon has ever tracked down a thought,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like we don't see questioning like aspects of that. I mean, I know they're working on the brain, but like they're not trying to change your thoughts. But the fact of like the concept of the thing that drives this entire existence, there's no instrument. You can see neurons connecting, but you can't see like a thought that thinks like, oh, I'm bald, or oh, I'm wearing a brown shirt. You can't you can't track that down, like.
What part of your head do you think would think that you're bald?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like some things you just can't explain,
Yeah.
Especially like certain miraculous events, certain profound ways of healing, in philosophy, right? You learn like what is beauty, what is truth, these are just concepts that we know to exist. There's no instrument to determine XYZ, and it's like, I think there's a lot that can explain so many aspects of this profession. And then that's kind of also the thing that makes it cool is like, there's just you just got to experience it yourself and see it work,
Yeah.
It's kind of like, there's no instrument to measure God, but when you experience that light, you just kind of laugh because it's so grand.
Yeah. And you can trust it.
Yeah.
Like, the cool part about what I find is reassuring is that I don't have to know how.
Mm-hmm.
I could just be like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I was like, God, know this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move this. This person's coming to me. I'm touching them, and that's what's healing them. I don't have to know.
Yeah.
I just know that what I'm about to do is gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's. I don't know. I'm excited to continue to walk this path of like the art of healing in a unique way,
Mm-hmm.
and see where it leads us and get to experience stuff like your uncle and even what more exists,
Yeah.
and just hope that becomes more common for more people.
Yeah.
Because I think society struggles so much because it's so ignorant to certain things that it's like, hey, maybe like, why is society so bad? Okay, but it's doing the same thing. Why don't we try something different and maybe we'll have a different outcome, So it's like we just continue to think the same way and do the same thing and continue to suffer more when it's like, oh wow, these people are happy and they're doing well, but nah, let's not listen to anything they're saying.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy concept to me.
I know. And I think it's also fascinating to like feel like there's a whole cancel culture of people against people who want to heal themselves, like through holistic means, or just feel empowered to not. I don't walk out of the house and ever think about sickness.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody literally could cough on my face, and I'd be more weirded out that there's spit on my face rather than being concerned that I'm gonna have the germs. Yeah. Like,
you're like,
yeah, I'm like, fuck though. Yeah. But that's not common.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if it's because, I'm sure it's because of my dad and my uncle in the military to just, in this conversation at the beginning, you're telling you we are having a conversation about like me just not ever wanting to fall a victim of myself. Because I think that that's really the only way you fall victim is to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could be an asshole, but you don't have to take it.
Yeah.
There might be severe repercussions for not taking it, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Anyways, I totally may have lost my train of thought right there. But I'm thinking that, that my dad just always taught me from like 5 years old that I could do anything. Like I had the power to heal. He taught me about Native American culture and spirituality, and he grew up to be a Catholic priest. He's studying in the monastery, and then he learned all these religions. As part of the way that you are a Catholic priest, you have to know about all the religions. And in his study, he was like transcended Catholicism for just a completely autonomous belief system that the power is within us and all around us. We're always connected, no matter what we think or feel. Like we have the power to manifest in the gift. And, you know, my uncle always says, "Hey, if you follow the Christian Bible, that, or you know, even Muslims say the Prophet Jesus said that you could do all these things and greater." I mean, his message was that all the shit that you see me doing, like this is your power. Like I'm no different than you. I am embodied man. I am not this whole thing that I believe religions create a separation between, where, you know, maybe this is controversial, where I think the message is this is who we are.
Yeah, I think it was trying to attempt to empower us.
Yeah.
And then,
like, hey, look at what I can do, and so can you. Like, I'm no different.
But if society was powerful, then there wouldn't be a hierarchy. You know?
We'd already be on Mars, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I think it's a message of empowerment, and
Yeah.
I don't think we realize how powerful we are.
Okay, so let's go down this question.
Okay.
If, like, it is clear that throughout time there has been a submission of power to the people. Like, they're trying to subdue it. What do you think they're trying to prevent? Like, if everybody understood their power, like, what do you think the powers that be are like, fuck. If this should happen, like, this is how everything would change. I don't know what that is. What would you speculate? What would you speculate something could be?
Trying to keep it with a path that can be followed. First of all, everything comes back to money, right? The money trail. And so, from my personal experience, when I've reached profound states of altered consciousness, experiencing God, feeling more love than could be ever described by the words that we use. I didn't need anyone. I didn't need anything. You could place me under a tree for the next 3,000 years, and I wouldn't stop smiling. Like, I think we've become, like, those that know what exists control it and hide it so that people need something from them, so that we're a controlled suffering society while others benefit from, not to sound like the craziest human being you've ever heard, not you, speaking to other people, but like I think we're slaves to others, and I think if we remembered our power, that we would live in a world we can't even imagine. And it's hard because at the same time, I think that's part of the game. Is I think of life as it's like a video game, and there's like levels to it, and it's up to us to become initiated through this like hero's journey to awaken ourselves and beat the game and remember our power and then tell others about it. Not that should sound like, oh, I'm so special, you know, but I see it as like it's everyone's journey to awaken, to experience their power, to beat these levels of initiation, you know, to like accumulate all these experiences through like going from so human to remembering that we're like a flick of the flame, like God is within us. Like we have every possibility, every character trait, like we're a drop in the pond, but that like we are that source. And I think if everyone got to that point, that's kind of like the second coming of Christ, like the end of time once everyone remembers. And I think we're kind of getting to a point in history where people are starting to wake up, like this reality doesn't feel fulfilling, there has to be something bigger. And I think that's what they're trying to suppress, is like they're remembering of people, of how powerful they are, because they wouldn't rely or need anything. I know people that have had these profound experiences that they eat food once every 72 days because the power of the soul and the power of our seed has, like, God designed us so perfectly where all these things outside of us are like supplementary, but we've become so physical and so dense that we rely on it so heavily. Like I think we only need small amounts of things around us, but I think if we were in our true powerful essence, we would be 95 to 98% like reliant on our own energy. Whether it comes to, like, I also believe in the suppression of technology. Like, we shouldn't have to. This gets really hard with the aspect of, again, total dichotomy on how I view things. Right? It's like I love the aspect of like how we've become developed and are
like the transformation of knowledge through technology.
Yeah. If you study like ancient cultures and like ancient Egypt, they had advanced technology that you can't even imagine. They had beds made of consciousness that you would lay on, and you, like, say you had a bad disease, you'd lay on it, and after a certain duration of time, you would get up and be fully healed. They had all their like swords and staffs and stuff had like consciousness embedded in it, where you can just like touch someone and heal. Right, so there's technology where I think we've become like, we're like, oh, we're the smartest people this planet's ever had. I think we're like the dumbest people this planet's ever had. I think we like, like, oh, I don't know. Like, we used to, as something as simple as like, we used to know how to grow our own food. Now, 99% of society doesn't know anything besides like go drive to the store and pick up this piece of, oh, it says organic, I'm going to eat that.
Yeah.
But like, we used to
at least it says that.
Yeah, which is not even fully organic. But it's hard because, like, at the end of the day, I think we could live simpler lives, but like still be extraordinary human beings. And I think we've been driven away from community, like the fact of I should be able to be near the closest people that I feel so fulfilled and resonate with, and like we can just spend every day not thinking about like earning money, but we're just building stuff and like having fun. But then another part is I understand the aspect of having to contribute to society, and like if you're not developing or changing, like things that don't change disappear. And so I think if there's no development or change, then it's like, what's the point of this existence? So it's like, long story short, I think everything has a reason, and I think we live in the society we do because I see it in the sense of the game was built against you so that the point of winning is awakening and like slaying all those dragons and getting to the boss.
Right.
The end goal and beating the master, and it's like I have experienced life outside of this reality. So it's like I know that this reality is built for our education and to learn lessons and to like evolve our spirit and take all that with us. So it's like we've come here to play a game, and I think we signed up knowing that it was going to have corruption and be against us and stuff. And that's part of our soul's journey of we chose this to be part of this to live a certain life.
I totally concur on that belief of choosing to be here with limitations, choosing our families, choosing the struggles. Not that there's really a predestination. I don't know if I'd say that, but just choosing conditions and parameters to test ourselves.
Yeah. I think there's some aspects probably towards the beginning. Even I think there's certain I've seen it like this of say there's like a timeline. There's certain aspects of that timeline that are written, and then everything in between is free will. But that's the thing that if we don't understand, like you're born, and then say there's an event that's going to happen here. If you're riding on a high and that event's low, you're going to crash and it's going to feel like the worst day of your life. Mm. But if you're low and you have this event, it's going to propel a huge change. And I think that's
so you're saying I just got to stay low?
I think that's the most. That's where they talk about the middle path, staying unattached, and just moving through life, doing your best, but staying unattached. Right. So it's like if you're moving in that middle path, you're not wavering.
It's the
high
fastest way there.
Yeah. It's the fastest and the least amount of suffering.
Yeah, it's come up a couple times, right, where Bella is really into these kinds of philosophical discussions where, it's all just talking about, we talk about yogic principles, we talk about these ideologies of the East. We were listening to the Bhagavad Gita, and these spiritual principles that are kind of like non-denominational, But it's fascinating to think of life as, well, how can we detach from the most things? How can we? What kind of life is that? Like, if you were to say, if you were to have somewhat of a concept of the middle road, unattachment for yourself. You have a beautiful wife, you'd like to create a family, you have an incredible profession, you're a lifelong learner. Like, what is the middle of the unattached life for you?
That's a good question, and I think it's something I've contemplated, right? And this is where I get back to, I'm saying like we don't need to rely on anything and like the system's corrupt. But then I love traveling, and it's like if we're on a barter system, I don't know how that would work with like me traveling around the world, unless I'm just going place to place and like offering something in that sense. But I'm like, I guess that's how it would be. Is just I'm bartering my way around the world to travel, right? So it's like hypothetically that type of society could exist, but then I think there are things that money makes so easy, and then it's like kind of an energetic barter to begin with. I think so. Maybe it's like finding the middle path with our financial system or something like that. But the question you asked, in the sense of the middle path for me, it's a good question because it's like, I don't know. And this is the middle path in all things, even in the spiritual community. I think there's a little toxicity of like being too unattached, so that you're never working towards anything and growing and evolving or building anything.
That's why I was laughing to myself, like, do I have goals or not?
Yeah,
is that an attachment? Or is there a purpose? Or if I help people, does that count as a goal? Or is that just purpose? Or?
Yeah. So that's where, if you don't realize through talking with me that it's like I look at both sides of everything, and I can't fully ever come to like a conclusion because I see everything as so.
Mrs. Jones, I know you're female and you have a spine, but
that's maybe not everything.
I'm kind of in the
that
middle.
Actually made me feel better. I have reached conclusions in my life.
That's funny. That's funny.
Is that pillow white or
yeah, exactly. Made off eggshell, a smoker's eggshell,
I I guess that's a better understanding then of like it's hard for me to reach conclusions on philosophical or like existential or deeper concepts of life. That maybe I just haven't explored them long enough. But yeah, because I have thought, okay, do I stay detached or like do I need to be disciplined and on myself to achieve these goals? You know, right? And then it's like, do I see life as like, oh, we should live on a barter system, or is it like, oh no, like you work to grow and like you're energetically rewarded with a financial situation, you know? And then it's like the more you grow and evolve and add value, the more this energetic essence of money just finds your way. And like you get to experience more because you're growing and giving more value to society, right? So it's hard to, as you can tell, for me to reach a conclusion on that. But I think at least how I practice it now is like I show up 110% for everything I do. And I stay unattached to if I'm successful yet. When it's like I just put success or like where I want to be in the end goal. And I try to make that as valuable to those around me as possible. Because I think at the end of the day, the basis of all of my stuff is like being as much service. Like if I can have the most primitive intention behind everything I do is of service for both me and others, then I don't think I can go wrong.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's
like if my goal is to make enough money, but the primary understanding is that I'm of service, then I'm making money not to fuel myself only, but to then also give back with it, right? So it's like regardless of what it is, that's the whole thing of the intention behind anything, right? Going back to everything could be good or bad, to determine the intention behind it. That to me is the important aspect of whatever I do decide on, like keep the same intention, of good and of service.
Yeah, dude, for sure. You know, I was thinking of something while you were talking about this, like coming into this world and the idea that if we are all powerful, we have the power to create or manifest whatever we want. I have this conversation and it's trippy a bit because it's like, well, do you believe that there's evil? Like, do you think that there's God and the devil? Do you think that there is good and evil? What do you think about that?
Before I dive fully into that, I think all leads to good. Going through things in my life that some would be like, that's the devil at play, led to the greatest healing and growth I could have ever imagined. And I pretty much went through a traumatic event, healed through it, spoke about how I healed through it, and the video went crazy online, and that was 2021, and I still get messages to this day of people saying, like, your message is what's kept me going, right? So it's like I took a bad event and I changed through it and I told that story and now it's helping people, right? So it's like I think like God's the end of the road, and I think everything's created out of good, and I think it's hard, right? Because like this reality is based on duality and contrast. So I think it's intent. Like if you get, it sounds a little like toxically desensitized, but that's just how I've seen it. If you're not so attached to this reality and realize life goes on, like if you bypass the fear of death, then if you realize you live forever, like your soul, like everything's not. There's bad in this world. Like you can't negate that. Like there's people that have forgotten the essence of what we are, and then they commit atrocities out of that forgetting. And so I think that there's bad in this world, so that, and it's hard because I do think the soul had an understanding of aspects of bad that it was going to experience. I think we choose to come in here to purposely experience bad for the growth and the lessons that our soul takes afterwards. I think it was like an inevitable aspect. Like if heaven or life outside of this realm is I'm not going to say perfect in the end, but there's still other realms besides this one. But I think we signed up to experience contrast here, and I think it's all leading for a specific purpose that ends in good.
Mm-hmm.
If that's like a simple way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. This came up when I was around this time where I told you the shoelace story. And we were talking with this gentleman who, you know, was able to see things in other realms, right? And there was a day where I completely detached from the idea of the devil having existence. Because he brought up a Rolling Stones song where he's like, you know, I was listening to the radio, I heard I can't get no satisfaction, right? And he was, I understand his point. Like, hey, if you're going to sing that song, then everything that you say has power and meaning, so then you say that and then you never feel satisfied. I'm like, that's a Rolling Stones song. It's a pretty good song. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I've had a lot of joy singing a lot of weird, terrible songs. Like, I don't know. You know, Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind is a song about meth addiction.
Mm-hmm.
But that song, everybody's singing it, and it sounds happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I also think that there is that moment, like, just because I loved rock and roll, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna say that about a Stone song. It's just it's a song. There are times in your life where you feel like you're not satisfied. It's a human emotion. It's not the devil casting an emotion onto you, to me. So for me, I'm not trying to change anybody's beliefs. For my beliefs, at that moment, I'm like, I don't want to believe that the devil exists. I don't want to believe that everywhere I go, someone's trying to fuck me over, and I have to spend 100% of my time, like, looking for the devil when things don't go right, because that's what it is. God is only doing good things, the devil is doing all the bad shit. And I'm like, I don't think that that's true, because...
And it's like, if I tell you not to think about an elephant, you're going to think about an elephant. So
yeah,
like,
right,
exactly. You're going to think about not doing something, it's just going to cause more of that.
I'm giving that idea power. Like, and I think that that's what happens in different faiths. This is what I've learned a lot. I studied all of the religions. Maybe not all of them. There's probably too much to study all of them, but the majority ones, significantly in college. And, you know, I guess I just feel like there's an interconnectedness. We all agree that there's a big power that's like around, and that we are also powerful creators. And I think that, like, you know, depending on someone's faith, like, their self-image will be dictated by what they choose to see God as, and what they choose to see the devil as, or jinns, or demons, or whatever. I personally have had experiences that were unexplainable and felt demonic. I've had experiences like that. I also feel like, if I think about where I was at in my life at that time, like, it's not so crazy for that to have come into my awareness, you know? Like, giving myself the credit to being like, I probably created that whole hallucination or whatever the fuck that was. It was just weird, fucked up, and I still I could tell you ghost stories all the time, and they freak me out. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's the devil or demons. I don't know. I haven't had an experience where something completely took me over. Yeah. Maybe, again, this is like this whole military mindset of never being a victim and it's giving it up.
So not to go super taboo, but like, I've had a few out-of-body experiences. I've spoke to other people that have had plenty of this stuff. The major premise of all of existence is like, life stems from you.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, it's determined upon your sovereignty and like how in control and command of life you are. So the victim thing is 100% spot on, in the sense of people that have people that have out-of-body experiences, like straight up just wording it like that. if they've encountered something of the demon or this or that, if they're in full authority and you just say, like, I'm in total command, nothing can hurt, harm, or touch me, right? Or sending it love or laughing, like, there's different techniques in that sense. But these things vanish right before your eyes.
Yeah.
You realize all things stem from you. It's your demons, the things inside
Right,
of you.
right.
You know, that's the whole part of us healing and taking care of these things that have clouded our light and our soul. Like in these experiences, you realize that all of life stems from you. All of you stems from the source, right? And it's like the more light you are, the more light you experience. The less light you are, the more suffering you experience. That's the whole thing of just having these experiences in connection with God, remembering that light and spreading it. And that's the more you experience. That's like the more, that's the whole thing of like attraction.
Right.
The more light you are, the more light you're going to experience. That's just inevitable. The more darkness you are, the more suffering you're going to experience. Until you or an event causes it to change that, to awaken that, to heal that, to change. Right.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of people. That's their whole. Those that know use fear as a way to dim light. You know, fear. Yeah. The greatest and only quote to live by is like, the only thing to fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have no fear, nothing can hurt, harm, or touch you. Your physical body maybe, but on the highest realm. You know.
Right.
And they've taken all the good stuff, but then implemented fear, you know, to try to diminish your capabilities.
For sure.
Is my experience and understanding.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, and I see the same truth. You know, my dad, we have these philosophical discussions about religion, and I went to him to say, hey, I heard this thing, and I don't subscribe to the devil. And he said something so profound to me that it was just like, you know, I don't know the exact words, I'm going to paraphrase it, but essentially just like your choice to not believe in the devil is analogous to your choice to believe in God. Essentially just like you're making up your belief. Whether you believe in God and you see it as that, then that it's your creation. Essentially, you just choose what you want to believe, but it's all made up. Mm-hmm. Where at first it like short-circuited my brain because I was like thinking of this time where I was on the bed or all the times in my life where I feel like I experienced God and it was outside of me. And my dad's belief is that we are God, we have God within us, and it's not, there's nothing separate about it. And he also told me when I was young, because I was trying to figure out religion, he's like, guess what? You just not going to figure it out. It's just something that you get to contemplate for your life. And I was like, also confused at a young age, like, what, you know. And it's interesting to live life and just have these couple of moments and have these one-liners from my dad that are just continue to ring true all the time. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that guy's pretty wise, you know? And so now it's like, okay, well, if I'm choosing my belief, I just choose that God's my partner. I like to think of God as separate and within me, but just like as a homie to bounce shit off of, you know, like I pray like that. I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? Here's the deal. Like, that's how I pray.
Yep.
And so it feels good to me to have an unlimited partner in crime. And when I need to muster courage or whatever, I'm just like, yo, this is your deal. You handle this. Like, I'm going to stay true to the mission. This is your part. And if that is me choosing just to have my own power and I'm like, illusioning myself to think that God's doing it or whatever, it's like, well, I like that, so yeah. I'm choosing that. Mm-hmm. That feels cool. I'd rather have a homie. Yeah, you know. So yeah, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
it's like a 50. It's like 100, but like a word the other way. It's like meeting halfway. You know, it's like you do your part.
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah, we're both doing shit, bro.
Exactly.
We got
Yeah.
shit to do.
Because like you can't do it on your own,
Yeah.
and then God's like, if you're not going to show up, like you're not just giving everything for free.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
I think here's the deal. I think contrary that we are given everything for free. Not that there would ever be like a financial exchange, but like I think that when I hear that, I think about we're not given massive purpose without like incredible training for it.
yeah,
Like the partnership that I feel with God is like He's not going to put me in to lead 50,000 men without understanding how to lead like 50.
or even how to lead yourself.
Right.
People are like, I want a following, and I'm like, you can't even get out of bed and make your own bed and like take care of your own needs and stay disciplined. Right. 100%. Yeah.
And so this is it, right? Where it's like I agree that we are handed it, and the way that we are handed it is time. Like there's steps. It's like you have it already. Like, hey, you want to be the greatest chiropractor of life? Like that's who you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So here's all the people that you can meet, and this is your journey. Like that, it's already done.
It's like a question you asked me in the beginning. I can't remember the question, but my answer was, I have the end goal, and each day I'm just chipping to become that person.
Right.
So it's like, God's like, you can have that. Now you just have to take the time to become that version of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's our only task.
Yeah.
It's like, wake up, put one foot in front of the other, do everything to become. It's like you're saying, you want X, Y, Z. Now spend the time becoming that,
Right.
Because that, if you were to be given that right now, you wouldn't be able to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, become the person that's worthy of it, that knows they are it, and that can handle it, and that can do good with it.
Yeah, it sets us up for success.
Yeah.
And learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then whenever we have to learn, it's because the purpose is way bigger than that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why we learn, because it's like, this is where it's gonna fall short. So you're not gonna have 5 million because this is where it's gonna fall short.
Yeah. Something to me, I never really understood the aspect of it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Like that just sounded like foo-foo to me. I'm like, okay, great, but like I want that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching a movie and this kid was like on a journey and I saw like a mountain in the distance, right? And I'm an impatient person. So I was like, yeah, when I go on a hike, I'm just ready to like get to the peak, right?
Yeah, me too.
And then you get to the peak and then you're up there and after 10 minutes you're like, I'm ready to go back.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
And in that moment I understood it's about the journey. It's about eating shit over a branch, or getting stuck by poison ivy, right?
Yeah.
Or seeing a tiger walk. I don't know. It's about that. And when you get to the peak, you can sit there and revel on all the crap and the story that you just went through, right? And it's like if someone just took a helicopter and dropped you on the peak, it's not the same as trudging through and taking that initiation to then deserve it, right? So it's all the end goals we want are meaningless if we don't have the journey of suffering and building story, right? It's like when the podcast is big, you're going to look back and miss the times of now of like, oh, remember when it was small and I didn't know and how to improve it. And
Yeah.
And then, because once you're big and doing it, that's just going to get boring and you're just going to you're going to have the nostalgia of like, damn, like I wish I could just go back. I had no stress. Now I have to tell people when to edit and do the thing.
Yeah.
And so, it's made me realize more of just, it's like enjoying the parts that aren't the
glam. Yeah. Have you ever been by yourself in the middle of nature for more than 24 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was it like in the middle of nowhere?
The specific experience I'm thinking of like sucked. There was like I went to go camping on my own. There was like a huge storm that like wiped through like one of the biggest storms that wasn't a hurricane. They're rolling across the entire state. So that was kind of like a crazy experience. I'm trying to think of
What was that like?
I love being by myself. So during COVID, I transferred home from Florida State just because like school shut, like everything was like shut down. Like, why am I paying to be here? Like, I gotta just go home. I was on scholarship, and so I was like making money to go in school and just come home. And I was getting big into meditation, and at the time, I spent so many days. I lived with my parents, but like I would just go sit at the beach all day and just like be by myself, get quiet, and just stare and like listen to nature. And to me, those were some of the best moments of my life. And I think
Why?
And keyword I said some because the best moments in my life are either completely alone or surrounded by the people that make me feel so fulfilled. And those are like the two extremes. And I think it's because when you're completely alone, you can still like if you're connected and fully present, you feel as if you're everything. Like, I don't know if you've been in that sense where you just feel like you're one with everything, which you don't feel alone at all. It's like how you could be in a room with 1,000 people and still feel alone. You could be alone, but if you're fully present and connected, you feel as if you're one with the trees, with the table, and that you kind of like dissolve the self in that moment. And it's the most fulfilling feeling that you can experience. And then the same thing goes, I was talking to a friend yesterday about like tone and resonance. And the other extreme of being surrounded by the people you most connect with is because you're all resonating together and the group kind of becomes one.
Right.
So it's like you feel like
It
you're
is sick
with
when you have
other
like 10
parts of
people and
yourself.
everybody is just like vibing
Yeah.
hard. It's not always that way.
It's really hard
But
to
there's
get those
one there's like
scenarios. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
feels like a puzzle piece that perfectly fits and you just feel like a unit,
Yeah, like you could just like lock arms and tackle a rhino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Like,
specifically.
yeah,
where I'm
it's
at.
specifically what you're thinking about.
But yeah. What about you?
No, I mean, no, I don't think that I've been 100% by myself more than 24 hours in nature. I've been, well, I drove my car from Vegas to Atlanta by myself. And I didn't get any hotels or anything like that. I just like slept in the car and just did the sunroof in the middle of the desert. I went to go in the middle of the desert to climb on top of like one of those crazy rocks and just exist and like draw a circle in the dirt and then not leave it for 24 hours just to see. I was scared, bro.
Yeah.
It was the middle of the night and I was like in more of like the Navajo land. It just, my head got to me for sure.
Yeah.
There's energy there, bro. I mean, there's archaic energy in the deserts in this country, and when you get on that native land, it's different too. It's like it's desolate at night. It's beautiful, and on the highway, I mean, there's nothing around. You just me, and the top down, windows open, full glass, just like in a Hubble space scope. It feels like.
That's insane.
But then you step out of the car and I stepped out of the car and started walking on the land. I really went with the intent to just go. I'm just gonna sit here tonight. I was too scared, bro.
Yeah.
I was definitely too scared. I don't feel like it's not that I was scared of being alone by myself, but there was an energy there where I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this right now,
And you weren't alone.
Yeah. So, I asked you that because I imagine that I figured that maybe you would be a person who's experienced that. And just, I want to know what that's like. Like, still a desire of mine. I'll go do it. And
It's
I think I just have to
definitely-
force myself to like through all the chupacabras and freaking night walkers and stuff, like
Yeah. So like
leave my mind.
when you say like totally alone, if I've been alone, there's people like in the distance. Like I haven't been like in nature where there's not another human being for like 3 miles.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That would be like. That would be.
It's a bit confronting. It's
It is-
confronting.
I mean, you pretty much just have to surrender. There's like a fear of survival. You know,
Yeah.
it's just innate within you because probably stored within us is the DNA of like getting attacked in nature. You know, so that
Mhm.
doesn't feel safe for us.
Yeah,
100%.
but yeah.
Because like when I went to go camping when that storm came through, there were probably people like I don't know, like 500 to 1,000 yards away. You know, so like
Yeah, you could be like, help!
yeah. If there's a tiger
Yeah.
and I'm screaming like
Yeah.
a little girl, like, someone's coming.
Please!
Yeah. But
No,
yeah, to be like completely. My wife has. She used to when she was like in her late teens, early 20s.
mhm.
She used to do solo trips by herself. It's like she'd be in Washington State, like in Olympic, just camping by herself. You know.
Hey,
Yeah.
dude. That's what I'm saying. There's something different about people who do that.
Yeah.
They have a different. There's just something that is unlocked, and it's the same. Like I could explain to you what war is like, but until bullets are flying at you and
Yeah.
shit's blowing up, like you just don't have the same like nervous system response
Yeah.
reference point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Okay.
like I understand what it's to be attacked, to get jumped, freaking by big men.
Yeah.
Like I have all these understandings, but then it's just like, just go by yourself, dude. It's just the fucking dirt out there.
Yeah. You're like,
I'm
I'd
like-
rather be in a chokehold.
Yeah, seriously, bro. I know how to get out of the chokehold.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good. Like,
It's so interesting. It's like when you're like, I'd rather be put through the hardest program, like military training,
Yeah.
than just go sit by myself in the middle of the night. You know, it's so
yeah,
weird.
true, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's true. Like, if you put me through 24 hours of like the most torturous physical punishment, I'm like, all day, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. I'll fucking make fun of people as I'm literally not able to move.
I think
I'm
it's
like,
because
"Come on, you
I
bitch."
think it's because there's something about being alone in the middle of nowhere, and it's something with the fear. It's the death. It has to do with dying, because when there's something about like torture and stuff. The mind doesn't like equate it. This is my interpretation. Like it doesn't equate it with dying, like because there's a way to fight out of it. But to be by yourself, there's like no way out. You know, you just have to
You just have to
go
surrender,
through
but
it.
Yeah, you have to go through it.
Yeah. Like if you're getting beat up, your mind can start coming up with tactics to how to.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're just that innate fear comes over, you can't stop that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I was out there like big guns like, oh, I'm gonna be out there for 3 days. I was fucking out there for like 15 minutes,
Yeah.
bro. I was like, oh man, this is crazy, bro.
My friend during okay, I'm not gonna spoil that because certain thing. I'll tell you off camera. Someone I know went into the middle of the forest a couple months ago for 4 or 5 days, and the next person wasn't for like 2 miles from them, and they drew like a circle around them, and they just sat in that circle for 5. You couldn't leave it, and you had no food, no water, anything.
Really?
And I was like, "You're a nut job." Yeah.
Dude, that's was my idea. Was
Yeah.
just to do that.
Yeah.
There's something about that. Like
Yeah.
there's something about doing that is like I am called to that experience. Like it has to happen once in my life.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know why, but
I could agree with you. It's something I've wanted to do just because I think of like, not that I'm actively pursuing it, but it's like if like there's a quote. It's like where your fear is, there your task is, and it's like everywhere you feel fear is exactly where you need to be headed. And so, it takes me a while to say yes to that fear, but I at least know what's next for me.
So where's the location then for you?
What do you mean?
Like to be in the
In
desert?
nature by myself?
Yeah. What is the
What's
is
my
the
desert?
geography?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's thick in a forest. I'm really called to like really lush environments,
Yeah.
which is why I want to move to Washington. But
Well, dude, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's
It's fun.
But yeah, just like right in the middle of a dense, thick forest where I feel like I'm like one with the trees would be a cool experience. There's something about the desert, there's something about the wide openness that kind of brings more fear in though. Like with, I don't know, the trees kind of bring like a,
Comfort.
yeah,
Like
it
you're
feels
like
I'm
a
sheltered.
blanket.
Yeah, but
There's
just
lots of
sit-
animals in the forest.
yeah, but sitting in a
Be
desert,
entertained,
you know, like an arrow could just, you know, like something could there's nothing to protect.
The spear of
Yeah.
the Indian spirit.
Have you seen Avatar?
No.
No, not that I look like him, but you know what I'm talking about, like the last Airbender.
Yeah.
It's funny because like there's different like tribes and stuff. So there's one in the desert, and they like come out of the sand and stuff, and that's what I would be thinking of, like, or like watching. I've only seen on a plane like parts of Dune. You know that movie?
Yeah, I've
They're
heard of
like
it.
sand. Yeah, and it's like where they're like coming out of, you know, and I'm just like, I'd be like, okay, is the ground moving? Is something coming up?
I'm ready for a fight. That's easier.
Yeah.
Come out of the sand, bitch. I'm gonna fuck you up, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you back in the sand, son. Yeah. But leave me alone in the desert. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's true, bro.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So, what forest? We're picking our spots right now. Geographical location 395707 degrees north.
What forest?
What continent? You want to start with a continent?
So it's definitely a forest in Washington. I'm trying to decide, but I've been there, so I'm like, I should go somewhere I don't
Where?
know. What?
Which forest?
Well, I was thinking like either Cascades or Olympic, but I'm thinking like I should probably go somewhere that I've never
Been to
been.
the Hoh Rainforest?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking.
Have you been to Rialto Beach?
I have been to Rialto Beach.
That's where I proposed to my
Oh,
wife.
nice.
Yeah, I feel like I should go somewhere I haven't been. Then.
I
Just
want to
to
climb
go.
up mountains, but I'm like, I think about fighting cougars, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, when my friend went
the
to
bears or
do that
something,
thing
you know?
a couple months ago, someone else that was doing it, like a mountain lion, like approached them. Like that's insane. So
What do you? I saw a video just the other day. These guys are filming gorillas. All right, silverback gorillas. Yeah, and the cameraman is a fucking badass, and he was just like, "If I'm not scared of them, they won't hurt me." So he started grabbing fucking twigs and eating leaves and staring at the gorillas, and they went and just got really close, and he moved. He didn't even flinch. He just like stared at them, and then they were like, and they just stopped and fucking let him be.
that's insane.
Bro, how do you regulate yourself
that's
in that
insane.
moment, bro?
That's crazy. Yeah, like
That's
I would be
certainty.
like-
you have to be certain, bro. You have to be
Yeah.
like, you're not gonna hurt me, and then you just accept that that's not what's gonna happen.
yeah, that's fair.
And it rips your face off.
Yeah. And then you're silver with no
Yeah,
back.
yeah, silver with no back. That's funny.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that. Forest though, I'm gonna do some research. Desert. For you.
Have you ever been to the
I've never been. No, I haven't.
redwood forest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that coast is Oregon.
Yeah.
Southern Oregon.
Yeah. Like Brookings?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right down there. I said Mendocino, but you had to look it up.
Yeah.
It's like, that. Between Brookings and Mendocino, there's a beach that's like forever.
What's it
It's
called?
I don't remember, but like it's a cliff and then a beach, like a pretty wide beach, and forever and nobody's there ever.
Hmm.
It's just like it's like a San Diego beach in the middle of nowhere.
Oh wow.
It's like
I wonder if I went. I can't.
you drove on it if you went on the
Yeah,
PCH.
yeah,
You looked at it. There's no way you didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We went to so many beaches that trip. That
No,
they all,
exactly,
yeah,
yeah,
that would be cool if that's the one. But you have to do some more forest research.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I gotta go New Mexico desert.
Mm.
New Mexico has the craziest
Yeah.
land masses.
Is that the? I forget which one. I think
Alamos.
there's a desert in New Mexico that photography-wise is like.
Super cool. I don't know. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Santa Fe is cool.
Yeah. I want to take a road trip through by myself for like 2 weeks, and like in a camper van, and just hit like every.
Like all the
Western
Utah,
state.
Zions,
Yeah.
all the Utah's
start
crazy
in
stuff.
Washington and just go down and then loop up. And
Oh,
down.
dude. I've been on both sides this year in Nevada's. Those trips are cool, man.
Yeah.
Like Mammoth Lakes in California.
Yeah.
Beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
So beautiful. We climbed up there. It's crazy to be so high. And then Colorado, like, there's this mountain. I have a video on YouTube about this mountain, and it's just like so vast. You know what I mean? It's like you never seen so much. You
Mhm.
can see everywhere because the mountains, like, I don't know, it's just in the middle of everything. You can see so far. You're like,
Yeah.
how is this real?
I know.
You know?
Yeah. It's crazy that people they never get to see it.
Yeah.
There's so much to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other topics we want to touch on?
If the chicken had lips, could it whistle?
I'm just picturing it whistling
Yeah.
as it's crossing the street.
Yeah, that's funny. A cab comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny. I think we'd hit a solid one, bro.
Me too.
We didn't even get to personal story for
I
you,
know.
dude. But
Yeah.
personal beliefs, though, that's even deeper.
It is. The stories build the beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to have a part 2
Definitely.
for sure, dude.
Yeah.
All right. 0 people. Just kidding. Well, there's been people on and off the whole time. It's been good, guys. Hey, if you stuck it out, you can find this man at Life University. And he's going to have incredible stuff coming. This will mark the moment where, like, you know, you're debuting a chiropractor podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Sick. So then when you're like out there changing policies and roaming around the world, it'd be like, guess what? We got them first.
Yeah. You know those things where it's like people are like, yeah, 10 years ago, and then I go to their YouTube and I click oldest and I go watch and I'm like, oh my god, they were a terrible speaker.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, they've really improved.
Yeah, totally. Well,
Really
hopefully
cool
that's
to
it.
watch.
There's a pretty
Yeah.
great first horrible speaking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Feel that on you.
Yeah, totally.
It's cool though. It's like when you think you're good at something, and then you like 10 years or like however long, and then you like critique yourself so much, but you just do the best you can in the moment. But it'll be cool to like watch this back in time, and you'll be like, oh, the lighting and then this and how I sounded, and you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, but
The
right
content,
now, right
baby.
now it's
It's
just
just the
perfect,
content.
you know?
Perfect content. Yeah.
No, everything's perfect, and then you just keep showing up, and it evolves. But yeah, this was good. I appreciate it, dude.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited to see you continue to grow it and
Yeah.
keep putting time
We're
into
doing it, guys. So, all right. Love you. Peace. End it. Oh, there it goes.